Meeting of the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission. I am Chairperson David Rockland. The time is 7 o'clock. We will begin with some notes about the meeting format. Remote participation in this meeting is available by telephone, the microphone on, by telephone, or through online video conferencing. Please see the meeting agenda for remote participation contact information, including phone numbers and the web link. To request to speak, if listening by phone, press star 9. If you are video conferencing, use the raise hand button. Public comment is available in person or by telephone during the public comment agenda item and during each public hearing. Finally, here's an overview of the sequence of events for each hearing on the agenda. First, Planning Services staff will deliver their report, followed by a report from this month's Commissioner Review Committee. Then the applicant or their representative will provide their presentation and answer any questions from the commissioners. At that point, the hearing will be open for public comment. Following public comment, the commission will make a motion and discuss the application. Finally, the approval from a majority of commissioners present will be required for a certificate of appropriateness to be granted. Ms. Thatcher, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Calderon.
Here.
Commissioner Ross. Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Kaplan.
Here.
Commissioner Rockland.
Here.
Commissioner Nisbet.
Here.
Commissioner Carter.
Here.
You have a quorum. Hooray.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And you might see some new faces here on the commission. We have 2 new commissioners, and so before we get into the next part of the agenda, we're just going to have them introduce themselves, let us know a little bit about you, and we're really happy you're here, so thank you for joining, and why don't we start with you?
Great. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Nisbet, and I'm super excited to be joining everyone here and to be on the HDC. And I am an Ann Arbor native. I grew up in Ann Arbor, grew up on the Old West Side in a historic home, so hence my interest in the HDC. Moved to the East Coast for about 15 years, came back to Ann Arbor, where I'm living again on the Old West Side in a historic home, and wanted to be a part of this community now that it's home again, and thought, how can I find a way to sort of pair my interests and my passions with something that sort of serves the community? And the HDC seemed like a good fit. I have a degree in art history, and so I am a big fan of all things historical and art, and interested in kind of creating and preserving these neighborhoods that give us a lot of personality in our town. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenna Jones-Carter. I'm a principal at Site Design Group. We're a landscape architecture and urban design firm based in Chicago. I first moved to Ann Arbor in 2006 for grad school. So I have my Master of Landscape Architecture that I got at the School of Natural Resources and Environment, and then moved back here in 2019, just before the pandemic. I've always, just had an interest in being more ingrained in the Ann Arbor community, so really happy to be part of this, and also have worked on a lot of historical spaces in my professional career, so kind of coming full circle, but just have a deep interest in that. So a couple I'll mention. I've worked at on a project for the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago. You might know that as from the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893. And then also more recently, the the Pullman National Historical Park on the south side of Chicago. So again, really happy to be here and being part of this and meeting all of you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so let's move on now. Item C, approval of the agenda. Everyone should have the agenda, and it looks like there might be a
I have
point
one
of order or a change to the agenda. What do we have
one
here?
request to change the agenda.
Yeah.
Would you entertain moving F7 to become the new F4? Because I just realized that the applicant is sitting here, and it's going to be a long night for him if he's, got 2 items that far apart.
Oh, right, because there's one applicant with 2 items.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
by putting them together,
Yep.
that would be
Yep.
awfully nice of us. And so, yeah, I think that hearing or seeing no objection then, I think we can make that change.
Thank you.
Great. Any other changes? Great. So then the agenda is approved as amended. And we'll move on to the next item, which is public comment. So this is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the Historic District Commission for up to 3 minutes about an issue that is not listed as a public hearing on this agenda. Now you would approach the podium now, or you would be pressing *9 or using the raise the hand button if you were on Zoom. There's some rustling in the crowd, but I don't see anyone approaching the agenda, and it seems like we don't have anyone. But hold on just a moment, because we might have someone.
Are you letting Mary Grace in?
Oh, this is for the next application.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were doing them all at once. Okay, I guess
No.
there's not for this.
I guess we're good. Okay, so that, we'll close the public comment portion of the agenda.
Going too fast.
We'll move on to E, unfinished business, and there is no unfinished business today. So that gets us to F, hearings. We've got quite a few hearings today, so it's good we can get right into it. We're going to start with F1, that's 224 Murray Ave. And so, staff, whenever you're ready, take it away.
All right. So these next two applications are going to look pretty similar, but we'll start with 224 Murray Ave. That's the one on the left in this photo. It is a 1 3/4 story gable fronter, which features 1/1 windows, a screened-in front porch with a hipped roof, a gable wall dormer on the south elevation, and a large rear addition. It was first occupied in 1914 by a clerk at F.W. Gross. The site is located on the west side of Murray Avenue between West Washington Street to the north and West Liberty Street to the south.
Recording in progress.
And the applicant seeks HDC approval to pave a concrete driveway. So we're looking at this house on the left first. We'll look at the one on the right in a moment. And this is the currently gravel driveway that they are proposing to pave with concrete. So some existing conditions, photos that were submitted by the applicant. You can see narrow driveway, gravel currently. Side of the house be right here. It's a 2008 staff photo of the house. And then here are the plans that we're looking at. So this is the house right here. The hatched area is the concrete drive, so it extends from that existing curb cut. It'll go 45 feet back, and there is, you'll see in another photo, there's some existing pavers right here, and then their garage. So the pavers aren't proposed to be touched, it's really just this gravel area. So here, these are the pavers that you can see right in front of the garage. This is the gravel area, gravel looking from the other direction, and then the garage back here. And then this is just another photo of the site. All right, I don't have too much to add. It is a pretty straightforward application. Paving concrete driveway from the existing curb cut extending 45 feet west towards the brick pavers and the existing garage. It says in the staff report that it's unclear when the garage was constructed because it's not shown on the 1948 Sanborn Fire Insurance map. But at the review committee site visit, the applicant did have some really cool building permits inside the garage that showed that it was built in 1948. So must have been just after they did the survey for the Sanborn Fire Insurance maps. So just past the period of significance, but the garage isn't going to be touched. And staff recommends approval of the application. I'm going to walk through the Secretary of the Interior standards first. Number one, a property will be used as it was historically or be given a new use that requires minimal change to its distinctive materials, features, spaces, and spatial relationships. Two, the historic character of a property will be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property will be avoided. 10, new additions and adjacent or related new construction will be undertaken in such a manner that if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment would be unimpaired. From the Secretary of the Interior guidelines, it is recommended to retain the historic relationship between buildings, landscape features, and open space. It's also recommended to identify, retain, and preserve buildings and their features, as well as features of the site that are important in defining its overall historic character. It's not recommended to introduce new construction onto the site which is visually incompatible in terms of size, scale, designs, materials, color, and texture, or which destroys historic relationships on the site. It's not recommended to remove or radically change buildings and their features that are important defining overall historic character. From the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines for residential landscape features, it's not appropriate to introduce any new building, streetscape, or landscape feature that is out of scale or otherwise inappropriate to the district's historic character. And for paved areas, it's appropriate on residential properties to retain and maintain existing historic driveways, as well as the green space between the driveway and the house. All right, that is the first one. And I will stop there for right now.
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you. Okay, next we will go to the review committee report. So Commissioners Kaplan and I were on the review committee. Why don't you start?
Sure. So as was said in the staff report, this is a pretty straightforward scenario with the two driveways. One thing that was brought up during our visit was that the curb cuts were fairly recent, and I believe were done by the city as part of an effort to improve drainage. This is a pretty low part in the city, and I believe there were some flooding issues that were kind of endemic to the area. So the curb cuts were already recently replaced, and the driveways will now kind of comport with them. But in terms of how they change the the existing use of the driveways, I didn't see any dramatic change or anything that would impact how anyone interacts visibly with the structures.
Thank you. I'd agree, and I'll just add a couple things. The one thing to note is that for this property, the north property line is right at that 9-foot edge. So there's not like a lot of room to build a wider driveway. The reason I'm bringing that up is because the driveway does extend all the way to the house, and we just heard in the standards that you're supposed to leave green space in between a driveway and the house. That's the appropriate thing to do. There is that note, but I think that just being on site and seeing how narrow it is, noting that the property line is right there, and then the other kind of key thing is that the gravel already does extend to the house. So this isn't like a change from what's there. It's just a change in materials. The other thing to note was that it really was kind of cool to see a building permit from 1948 that they had on their property. It was just in their garage, kind of behind a panel that they had saved this whole time, and that was kind of pretty cool to see. Okay, so let's move on then. We'll get the applicant presentation. So the applicant is on Zoom, I believe, right?
Yes.
So let's get, there we go. Hello. Good to see you again. Can you hear us? Okay, great.
Yeah, can you hear us okay?
We can, and we can see you too. It's wonderful. Okay, so this is your chance. You've kind of heard the staff report and the review committee report, so you can respond to anything you've heard, but also just give your own presentation, and then the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank
I'm
you so
sorry.
much
I should have
for
mentioned.
considering this request.
Oof, it's fine.
Maybe the one thing actually that you have already kind of alluded to is that I want to be clear that our hope is that we can have concrete all the way up to the house for a number of reasons. One, to your point of it already has the stone all the way to the house, and it's the narrow side of the house. The other thing to think about as you consider that is it is in the floodway, and so my concern would be is if we had left a foot gap between the house and the concrete, that the water would get not have the right kind of drainage. We spent a lot of time on our back brickwork with Shannon Gibb Randall on making sure we were managing water flow appropriately into our rain garden. And so I really don't want to repeat a repeat flooding problem. Also, maybe I would add that I'm sure we look super young to all of you, but as we age and would love to age in place, one of our main reasons for wanting concrete is that it's easier to shovel and maintain and get ice off. And that if we had that extra little strip between the house and the concrete, I would worry about stumbling and falling, also with my aging mother who does come and visit. So if there are questions about that, is there anything you want to add, Rye?
Not I can think of offhand.
Okay, yeah. So thank you, everybody. We can't see your faces, but
Thank you very much.
we appreciate you.
I meant to say before I handed it over to you that could you please state your name and address for the record? Can you do that, please?
Yeah. So I'm Ann.
Ryan.
And our last name is Verhey Hankey. We have a shared last name, and we live at 224 Murray Avenue in Ann Arbor, and have lived here. Well, we were both Ann Arborites, but have lived at this address since 1997.
Thank you for that. Okay, so now we'll get some commissioner questions if there are any, and so I'm wondering if any commissioners have questions for the applicant. Okay, very good. Next is the public hearing. So we'll open the public hearing for this item. This is an opportunity for persons to speak for up to 3 minutes about this application at 224 Murray. So I'm guessing we don't have anyone. No, okay. So now we'll close the public hearing for this item. And we'll move on to a motion. Is there any commissioner who'd like to make a motion?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. I move that the commission issues a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 224 Murray Avenue, contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to pave a driveway as proposed. The work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the surrounding resources, and meets the Ann Arbor Historic District guidelines for paved area and landscape features. The Secretary of Interior's standards and rehabilitations, in particular to standards 1, 2, and 10, and the guidelines for building site.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Great. That was moved by Commissioner Calderon and seconded by Commissioner Smith. Do we have any discussion on the motion? I think this is a pretty straightforward project. There maybe is just that one little question about the planting strip, but does anyone have an issue with the planting strip that they want to bring up?
No.
Okay. Any discussion about anything else they'd like to talk about? No, good, okay. Well, then let's move to a vote. All those in favor, please say yes.
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 All those opposed, say no. Great, so your application passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So just making sure we got through everything there. Looks like we did. So now we might experience some deja vu here, but we're going to do F2, which is 222 Murray Ave. And so, yeah, the staff report whenever you're ready, Mariana.
All right,
Yes.
so now we are looking at 222 Murray, which is on the right side in the photo. Very similar application, but I'll go through it. This 1 3/4 story gable fronter features a cut stone foundation, a covered front porch with a hipped roof and wood siding. It was first occupied in 1913 by W. Clyde Anderson, a toolmaker, and his wife Helen. The site is located on the west side of Murray Avenue between West Washington Street and West Liberty Street, and the applicant seeks HDC approval to pave a concrete driveway. So now we are looking at the right side. Existing conditions taken at the review committee visit. Also gravel with some grass patches adjacent to the house. And then here we have the proposed gravel driveway, or I'm sorry, concrete driveway, aggregate concrete as noted on the drawings. And it is this gray shaded part, so it's 14 feet wide and goes back 41 feet and 7 inches. It goes back to the edge of the house. There's a fence here that you can see in the photos. There will be this space in between the driveway and the house. And then there's a proposed green space which is adjacent the property that we just looked at. The curb cut is existing. It's just slightly off of the curb cut. Here is a 2007 staff photo. Some of the photos submitted by the applicant. And that is, this is the fence back here that the paved driveway will go to. No garage back here. All right, we did read, I think all of these. I'll go through a few of them. We read standard 1, 2, and 10. I'll read a couple of the Secretary of the Interior guidelines again. It is recommended to retain the historic relationship between buildings, landscape features, and open space. It is not recommended to introduce new construction that is visually incompatible or out of scale. From the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines, not appropriate to introduce any new building, streetscape, or landscape features that is out of scale or otherwise inappropriate to the historic character of the district. For paved areas, it is appropriate on residential properties to retain and maintain existing historic driveways and curb cuts, and to maintain the green space between the house and the driveway. A couple of things that I will add from the staff report. Again, this is paved driveway south of the house. It will approximately align with the existing curb cut on Murray Avenue. The paving will be exposed aggregate concrete, and currently that area is gravel with some grass patches. It will be about 3 feet from the side of the house and about 5 feet from the parcel line to the south. There was a garage at the back of the house during the period of significance, but building permits were filed in 1970 to demolish the garage. In 1987, permits were submitted to construct a shed on the side yard, which was visible in that 2007 staff photo. And building permits that were submitted in 1987 show that the approximate area of this driveway was gravel at the time. But according to aerial photographs, the shed was removed by 2015. It's not in any of the photos, and it wasn't there on our site visit. Overall, staff recommends approval of the application. The location is appropriate. The paving will not directly abut the house, and the work is reversible. And that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana. Okay, now we'll have the review committee report. Commissioner Kaplan, do you want to go?
Not a lot to add here. I think a lot of the details that we covered for the last applicant equally apply to this one. There's a little more width here, and I think they've done the right things with that extra space.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's more space. The curb cut is also bigger, and they have a wider driveway because there's more space, I think. Yeah, and if you look, I think more or less where the gravel is right now is where the concrete is going to go. So it's not, we're saying that it's wide, but it's not widening as far as we can see. Yeah. So, great. Let's move on now to the applicant presentation. So it looks like we have the applicant on Zoom, maybe literally zooming around in her car. Be safe, please. But yeah, so good. Okay, so I think you know the drill because you were on for the last hearing. So please state your name and address for the record, and it's all yours.
Mary Grace Lipperato, 222 Murray Avenue. And thank you for putting this on the agenda, and Jill and Mariana for their support in preparing what you were looking for.
Thanks, Mary Grace. Do you have anything else to add, or is that it?
Just a question. The transition between the side door and the garage right now is brick paver. Does that stay? Can it also be the concrete? How do you use that?
Do we have okay, there we go. All right, I kind of heard you. You broke up a little bit there, but it sounded like you were asking about if the brick patio can be concrete or not. Is that right?
No, from the side door to the new driveway,
Yeah.
it's currently red brick paper. Do you want that with railroad ties around it? I'm not sure when that was done. Do you want that to stay, or can that transition all match?
That is a design question, which would be totally up to you. So
Okay.
what's proposed is that, that the brick is staying, but if you want the brick to become concrete, then you can let us know right now and we can add that to the application.
I think that it would look better, and I'd like that, but I won't let that be something that holds up moving forward with this.
Okay, that's simple enough. I think we can talk through that here as we go. Anything else?
The green space that's between the house and the new drive, is that to be plantings, or right now it's gravel with, it's become a little green because it's got weeds? What should that be?
What does it say on the application? It's like a different color.
I think it just says green space.
It does say green
Yeah,
space. Okay.
We left that green. Well, actually, I think we did the driveway between 224 and myself as green, and I think we left the house part pink. So it's whatever you want it to be.
Well, like I said, that's another design question, so really it's whatever you propose. I mean, we'd want it to be green space, I think, so let's
Green is
make it green
best, because
space.
gravel or any, green is best.
Yeah.
Because gravel's bad for foundations.
Yeah. Okay, is there anything else, Marianne? Mary Grace?
No.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's good.
Very good, thank you very much. Now we will have any commissioner questions, so if there are any. And it doesn't look like there are. I think that's to be expected because the application is quite straightforward. Okay, so now in that case, we will move to the public hearing. And so we'll now open the public hearing for this item. It's 222 Murray Ave. And we don't have anyone here. I'm guessing we don't have anyone online. So good, we can close the public hearing for this application, and now I'll ask if there's a commissioner who would like to make a motion.
Sure. I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 222 Murray Avenue, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to pave a driveway as proposed. The work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the surrounding resources, and meets the Ann Arbor Historic District guidelines for paved areas and landscape features, and the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation, in particular, standards 1, 2, and 10, and the guidelines for building site.
Second.
Okay, before we move forward on that motion, should we not amend it to say, to include the patio?
Yes.
Right, did you catch that? So you said as proposed, but right there, I think you can say,
I would amend the motion to say, as proposed, with the removal of the existing brick paver patio and replacement with concrete.
yeah, okay. And so now we need to second that again, probably?
Second.
Okay, so that was, let's see, the motion was by Commissioner Kaplan, and we had an amendment by Commissioner Smith, and then seconded by Commissioner Kaplan. Can he second his own motion like that? Or was a motion on a motion? I don't know. Do we know that's okay?
Yes.
You're looking at me like I'm crazy, Joe.
Kaplan made the motion, Ben seconded it.
Ben seconded it, okay.
Amended it.
I skipped
amended
ahead to the,
it.
to
I
the
seconded the
amended
amendment.
motion. Yeah, so it's really Commissioner Calderon seconded it.
We
Amended by
could
Commissioner
just call it a friendly
A
amendment.
friendly amendment, we don't need to, thank you.
Right.
Thank you. That was a friendly amendment by Commissioner Smith, okay. Great. Okay, so I just want to turn to staff. Are we good right now with all of that? Did you get the?
Yes, we're good, and the green space is staying green space. No gravel, no lava rock, green space. That's right?
Oh, we should amend the motion for that as well, or
no,
we're good
it's-
just like?
It's good if as proposed.
It's
but
as
if there was
proposed.
any changes to it,
What I heard was that the applicant was good with green space.
then you're good.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, and so let's discuss. I had just a quick question for staff, because I feel like we maybe don't get a lot of applications for exposed aggregate concrete, and I just was wondering if is that sort of on the list of approved materials in the
Yeah.
district, and yeah.
There's no specific, I mean, concrete is an appropriate material.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter how it looks or how it's finished.
Okay. Yeah, I was just was wondering about that. Thank you. Very good. Okay, so I think this is also quite straightforward. Are there any discussion points here that anyone has? I think it's, yeah. Let's just vote then, if we're all ready to vote. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, say no. Great, the motion carries. Your application has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all for your time, too.
Absolutely, thank you very much. Okay. So we're moving off of Murray Ave, sorry, but we're not, we're going to stick around another street for a second, too. So we have F3, 207 North Division Street. And we will get the staff report whenever you're ready, please.
All right. Here we are on Division Street, on the west side of Division, north of Ann and south of Catherine. 207 North Division is the carriage house of the historic Palmer Ryan House, which is at 205 North Division. They're on the same lot on that corner of Ann and Division. The carriage house, 207, that we're talking about here, was actually built first in the mid-19th century, was purchased by Dr. Alonzo Palmer and his wife in 1868. And then later in 1876, Dr. Palmer and his second wife built the bigger house, the Gothic Revival one at 205 North Division. 207 is an L-shaped brick house with a 1-story section and a 1 3/4 story section. Both have gable roofs. The 1-story section faces Ann Street, and the 1 3/4 story section faces Division Street and has a dormer on either side of the gable roof. The house is located in the northwest corner of the parcel. It's pushed back from both Ann and Division Streets. And the applicant is seeking HDC approval to create a new window opening on the north elevation to install an egress window. All right. So here's the front of the house. This is if you're looking from Division Street. Again, it's pushed far back from the sidewalk. This is looking at that kind of joint of the L shape. And this is the area that we're talking about, the north elevation. That is where the proposed new egress window will go. And then this is, again, looking at a different, just a different perspective on this north elevation. So here you can see the existing second floor plan. This is just the brick wall. And then on the proposed, here is where that new egress window will be, kind of in the middle of the elevation. And you can see it here, just the existing brick, and then proposed is this egress window, pretty much centered underneath the dormer and that existing window above. You can see here, so it'll be aligned with the bottom of the window on the elevation facing Division Street. Here are photos that were submitted by the applicant talking about this elevation. And we read standard 1. Can't remember if we did 2, so let's read it. The historic character of a property will be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property will be avoided. 9, new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction shall not destroy historic materials that characterize the property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and shall be compatible with the massing, size, scale, and architectural features to protect the historic integrity of the property and its environment. From the Secretary of the Interior guidelines, it's recommended to identify, retain, and preserve buildings and their features, as well as features that are important in defining the overall historic character. It's not recommended to introduce new construction, which is visually incompatible in terms of size, scale, design, materials, color, and texture. It's not recommended to remove or radically change buildings and their features that are important in defining overall historic character. From the Secretary of Interior guidelines for windows, it's recommended to design and install additional windows on rear or other non-character defining elevations if required by the new use. The design should be compatible with the overall design of the building, but not duplicate the fenestration pattern and detailing of other character-defining elevations. It's not recommended to introduce a new design that is incompatible with the historic character of the building. It's also not recommended to remove a character-defining window that is unrepairable, unblocking it. It's not recommended to install new windows that are incompatible with the historic appearance of the building or that obscure, damage, or destroy character-defining features. From the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines for windows, it's appropriate to retain and maintain windows in good condition. It's not appropriate to change the number, location, size, or glazing pattern of windows by cutting new openings, blocking in, or installing replacement sash, which does not fit the historic opening. Not appropriate to remove or radically change historic windows. All right, I'll add a few more things. Let me go back to a photo. All right, so the applicant proposes creating a new opening for the egress window on the north elevation. Again, it'll be on that upper level centered beneath the existing dormer and dormer window. The new window will be set back approximately 16 feet from the corner of that Division Street facing elevation. The measurements are approximately 2 feet 5 inches by 3 feet, and it is smaller than the dormer window above it. And like I said, the bottom of the new window will align with the bottom of this upper story window existing. The proposed window will be a clad wood casement window. Muntins will be applied to the interior and exterior with spacers. The new trim will be a composite brick mold and will differ slightly in size from the historic window trim. Staff believes this is an appropriate location for a new egress window. It will be minimally visible from the right-of-way because the house is set so far back and because there is, as you can see from the photo, only a little bit of room between 207 North Division and the existing building to the north. The proposed size and trim are appropriate and are differentiated from the historic as shown on the drawings. And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Mariana. Now we'll go to the review committee report. Commissioner Kaplan, can we have your report, please?
Yeah, so, I mean, the main, I don't think either of us had issues with where this is located in the building in terms of trying to find a place for an egress window where it is minimally impactful on what you see from the street. I think this is the best choice. Currently, although we did not go inside, it appeared that the design upstairs has 2 bedrooms where in order to have that egress window serve both of them, the dividing wall between them is pulled back or was off to one side, I guess. But either way, the purpose of adding this window was to get that second bedroom to have its own independent egress. The only other element of discussion I remember us sort of going over was just trying to decide how far back or where the property line was with the next door neighbor. It's quite a tight space, and is there room for the window to swing and things like that. But I think that from an historical district perspective, the location is fine.
Yeah, I'm guessing, I agree, and I'm guessing that they wanted to put the window as far back as possible from the sidewalk. But obviously, you saw where the bedroom was on the floor plan. The bedroom's in that front room, so you can only put it so far back. And because of where the stair is, it's possible that, that it won't be quite centered with the dormer. That's something we found out on site. You won't be able to tell from anywhere on a public right-of-way. I guess even in the drawing, it looks like it's a little off-center. But anyway, so it's not going to be centered, most likely. And then also there's a garage or some sort of accessory building right opposite it, and it's, who knows, if you can even open it. The property line was sort of like somewhere, right? You didn't really know. There's the other thing is there is a power line going right over the eave of the garage, just like that's actually on top of the eave of the garage. So there's a lot going on, but it's all mostly zoning stuff. And so really what we care about is that it's on the, more or less the rear, it's on a side elevation really from the sidewalk, but it's pushed far back on a side elevation. And so, yeah, I think on site, we appreciated where this was located. Okay, so now we will move to the applicant presentation. So I think the applicant's here, right? Yeah, great. So would you please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. You've got up to 5 minutes to speak about your application. Thank you.
Yes. My name is Pete Owen, Pete's Visions, and I did the interior remodel on 207 over the summer here. So it's a fun project. The historical value of it is, there's just the intrinsic historical value that I think that everyone has here of just the 205, 207 structures is, it's something special. And just to minimize the of it taken away from the detail, we proposed a spot as far back as possible in that bedroom. But in the same token, trying to keep in mind that since it is a student house and both of them, 205 and 207, and then the 207 being a student house, the property owner wants it to be a legal 6th bedroom so that it's compliant with the housing for Ann Arbor, and it does the 20. But we will get the clearance of the casement opening, which is good. So we will get that. I know it is tight, but I'll have to go to back just to get a building permit to do the work on that, to be able to follow through the next step if this is indeed passed here today. And I think just the impacts will be minimal, but it'll be enough for the tenants. There's a couple tenants here, lovely ladies.
Oh, great. Hello, welcome. Yeah.
That are enjoying the new remodel on the interior.
Great.
And it would just kind of add to the nice features of the house, just to make it more, just kind of bring it all into the 21st century and still keep life in the structure. Just because if you just kind of leave it, we got to keep up. The structures still have to keep up with the times. Otherwise, they kind of just fall behind. And you see that sometimes, and it's sad. But I think just with the new students coming in and everything, and it seems like a lot of the students that do, and just talking to these girls, before they moved in, the new tenants here, and they, they really had an appreciation for the architecture of it and the history. So it's something to be, it's cool that the next generation's taken that appreciation. But thank you.
Great. Thank you, Pete. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are there any commissioner questions for Pete? Are we good? Okay. Very good then. In that case, we will open the public hearing for 207 North Division Street. This is an opportunity for persons to speak for up to 3 minutes about this application. And we don't have anyone coming to speak here, and no one online. Okay, so now the public hearing is closed. And I would ask if there's a commissioner who would like to make a motion on this item. Sure, thank you.
I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 207 North Division Street, a contributing property in the Division Street Historic District, to create a new opening on the north elevation to install an egress window. As proposed, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular standards 1, 2, and 9, and the guidelines for building, site, and windows, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District guidelines for windows.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Great, thank you. That is moved by Commissioner Kaplan and seconded by Commissioner Calderon. I will just say about the motions for the new commissioners, and just for anyone interested, that our incredible staff at the city creates those motions. And so we're making them as we're reading them, but also we can make any motion for, we can change it or do whatever. So I don't know. Just wanted to add that, and once again, thank you to the incredible city staff. But let's get back to the hearing. So, okay, this is a pretty straightforward one. Also, one egress window on a non-street facing elevation. There's character-defining features, but it's on the subordinate elevation. Is there any discussion? No. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good then. Let's go right to a vote. All those in favor of the motion say yes.
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 All those opposed say no. Okay, the motion carries. Your application has been approved, and it sounds like you know to get the permits next. So yeah, get those building permits.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, and sit tight because we made that change to the agenda, right? And so, is it 4th Ave? Is that where we're going? Okay. So now this was F7. We'll talk about 203 North 4th Ave. Apologies to all the other hearings that are being shifted, but we appreciate your patience. Thank you. Okay, whenever you're ready, the staff report, please.
All right, so this is the storefront at 203 North 4th Avenue. It is part of the parcel with addresses 201 to 207. The north one-story half of this building, which you can't see from this photo, first appears on the 1925 Sanborn map. By 1929, the Washtenaw Mutual Oil Company was listed at the address, and that is the time which this Tudor Revival brick facade was added on the south, towards 4th Avenue. Around 1970, this one-story concrete block addition was added, and this is the 203 North 4th Avenue storefront that we'll be talking about tonight. According to building permits, the storefront system that you can start to see in this photo was updated in 1997, and the awning that you can see was added in 2001. So we are on 4th Avenue, east of Ann Street, or at the corner of Ann Street and North 4th Avenue. And the applicant is seeking HDC approval to install a new door in a new opening on the south elevation for barrier-free access, and add sconces and an awning on with that door, and then a paved landing and a ramp and planters. So this is, again, 1970, this concrete block one-story addition, and this is the area that we're looking at for a new door for barrier-free access. There is an existing well here, which you kind of see. It's right here in the photo. This is the storefront. Again, so this is there is an existing door here, but you can see that there's this step. And then here we have the site plan existing condition. So there is this planter bed, that's the concrete wall, and then this is the existing brick walkway. Then here we have it kind of zoomed in. So this plantering bed will be removed, the door opening will go here, and then this landing will be repaved. There'll be some planters added, and that ramp, which you can see right here. So doorway with the awning over it, ramp, and then some planters, and this will be repaved with concrete. which you can see a little bit closer. And then just an overall floor plan. So this is that store, that commercial area. This will be the door down here. Elevation, this is the existing condition, just that concrete block. And then this will be that new door, awning, some lighting. Perspective view. And then some of the applicant's photos. Existing conditions, and then this is that area of work there. All right, we already read standard 1, 2, and 9, and 10. So I'll go to the guidelines from the Secretary of the Interior for entrances and porches. It is recommended to design and install additional entrances or porches when required for the new use in a manner that preserves the historic character of the building and limiting alterations to non-character defining elevations. It's not recommended to cut new entrances on a primary elevation. It's not recommended to introduce a new entrance or porch that is incompatible in size, scale, material, and color. For health and safety, it's recommended to identify the historic building's character-defining spaces so that any code-required work will not result in their damage or loss. And it is also recommended to comply with health and safety codes. From the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines, it's not appropriate to install a new door opening. It is appropriate to comply with barrier-free and safety codes in a manner that ensures the preservation of character-defining features. For awnings, it is appropriate to mount a standard storefront awning so that the bottom is at least 7 feet from the sidewalk, although 8 feet is preferred. It's appropriate to project the awning no more than 4 feet from the face of the building and to use canvas or other fabrics for awnings and banners. It's appropriate to attach awnings just below storefront cornice and fit it in with the storefront opening, and to mount awning or banners on masonry structures through mortar joints and not through brick, stone, or terracotta. And it's appropriate to install banners and awnings so that they do not cover or require the removal of any historic detail. All right, I will go back to a photo and just add a couple of notes. So this is a new double leaf metal storefront door that will be installed in the concrete block. Again, this was a 1970 edition, so it is non-contributing. It's kind of a weird one in front of that Tudor Revival building, but here it is. There will be 2 of those wall sconces on either side of the new door opening. Those specifications are included in the application materials. There is this triangular awning that is shown above the double doors on the drawings. Generally, awnings are appropriate above doors in commercial settings. Details were not included in the drawing set, so just a note that staff has included some of the conditions that we went through, some of the appropriate and not appropriate for awnings, so those are just included as a condition in the motion to make sure that the awning meets the design guidelines, though generally it does look fine from these drawings. As part of the installation, a planting bed and a brick pathway to south of the elevation will be removed. That area will be paved with concrete, then the barrier-free access ramp will be installed. There's no dimensions for the ramp, but it appears to be appropriately sized on the drawings. Planters will be added on the east side of the concrete landing, so it'll be between the ramp and the public right-of-way. And there is also a bike hoop shown on the drawings that is designed per the Downtown Development Authority standards. So though this will be highly visible because of the empty lot to the south, staff believes that the side elevation of this non-contributing addition is an appropriate location for a new door. Given the need for barrier-free access, there will be no impact on historic materials. The amount of impervious surface on the landing will remain the same. So staff believes that the work is compatible with the existing structure, neighboring buildings, and the surrounding historic district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana. Okay, now we'll have the review committee report. Commissioner Kaplan, please.
I think the first thing that struck me on the site visit was the changes that are being suggested are to a stark white cinder block wall that's not part of the actual the visually significant or historic part of the building. And if anything, breaking up that surface, I think, serves to detract less from the really pretty adjacent architecture. Well, I think that's all I'll say about as far as this report. I have questions later.
Great. Thank you. I agree with the staff report and with Commissioner Kaplan. It is highly visible, like was mentioned in the staff report. I think that standing there, really the thought is just like, is this compatible with what's there historically? But really what you're looking at, it's really hard. You really have to squint to see. I mean, the character defining features are there, but there's also a lot going on. It is going to add kind of one more element. And then you don't want it to obscure what little bit you can see. And it felt like, it's so visible that you'll be able to see around. Yes, there'll be an awning, but you'll be able to see around the awning because the site is so visible. Okay, so now we will invite the applicant up for the applicant presentation. So once again, Pete.
Okay. Hey guys, sorry about the plates in the middle of the awning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Best I can do, looking up on the job.
Thank you. So this is the specs on the awning. Is there a height
Yeah, we do
measurement?
have a side elevation on it.
Okay, I see the projection from the building. Is there also an elevation height of the rim of the awning? I don't see that. Oh, yeah, I do. 7 feet minimum. And it's 2'10" projection. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess state your name and address for the
Okay.
record again, and if you have anything else to add from what you've heard, or give your own presentation, the floor is yours. Yeah,
All right, thank you.
thanks.
Yes, my name is Pete Owen of Pete's Visions, and I am proposing a new barrier-free entry into the first floor of 203 North 4th Avenue. And the reason for it is the front of the building just has a little 3-foot door that has a step up. And unfortunately, it makes it hard for a lot of people to be able to enter and exit, especially when it's, when we get the adverse weather in Michigan from the snow and ice and everything else. And even a rainy day or even a sunny day when you could miss that step and you could fall, and that's something we don't want. And also, the side where that Belladina 3-dimensional lettering was on that you can see for where our proposed door is going to be, it's pretty ugly. It needs something. It definitely does, but just for the functionality purpose of it is it's needed for the first floor building for any future tenant that wants to use it for like a restaurant. Things are really popping down there right now. As far as there's other sites that are bringing more people in, increasing density and everything. So it's going to see a lot of foot traffic, and I think it's going to any prospective future tenant that the landlord finds to fill it is going to be very happy with this site with that door there, and then being barrier free and following our current ADA guidelines, which are of the utmost importance for any commercial structure this day and age. Safety is number one, and that's the key here. But I think just with what the architect has and what I'm proposing to do is I think it's going to add to the value of the building, because right now, I mean, just with it being as, you know, that being separate and being set in the 70s, it's definitely, it doesn't fit in as it was before with the Tudor Revival. The Tudor Revival is really nice, but and at the same time, I don't think it's going to outweigh the Tudor Revival, because a lot of times we see a lot of mixed architecture in the historic area. I know there's a couple other ones that I've worked on where you have, like, you know, a historic building, and right next to it, they put something in like 30 years later. It's not historic, but you know, the mishmash, it works with sometimes, because the architects, you know, took in consideration at the time of, you know, the 1940s or 50s, and they said, okay, well, let's still make this make sense. Let's make it, you know, let's make it work. And I think the way, you know, I'm proposing and the way the architects have it drawn, I think it will make this building make sense, and it'll, you know, just be, you know, something that Ann Arbor will really be proud of for the next, you know, decades to come. So.
Great. Okay, is that your presentation?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, thank you, Pete. Just hold tight right there, because I think we have some questions for you.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate that. It sounded like Commissioner Kaplan had some
Yeah, I have a
questions.
couple.
Yeah, great.
Almost all pertaining to the awning. I see what your intent is with the door, and personally don't have issues with it. I'm looking for the citation of an interior guideline from the staff report that talked about awnings. When you read it, I don't see it here. I may just be lost. But did it not say something about the awning needing to relate to other existing awnings on the building? I guess I'm looking at the elevation of the awning that you're proposing, and I'm seeing it's like a foot different from the awnings that are already at the corner. And I'm wondering if
Yeah, let me find
the guidelines that you read were suggesting that those should somehow be synced to each other in some way. In the midst of that, I'd like to ask another question. Is the manufacturer's graphics of the awning and the drawing of the awning as you envision it on the building seem different to me? I'm just wondering what the vision actually, so if it's just a standard aluminum frame that you put on any modern building where it's kind of a somewhat see-through plastic or canvas where light moves through it very easy and it's very brightly colored, are you envisioning it as it shows it as a potential sign or graphics carrier for like the name of the business that would rent the space? Do you see this as having the potential for signage, or is it merely to keep rain off of people's heads when they're coming in the door?
Oh, to keep people's rain off their heads, and also ice and everything else. That'd be the key takeaway from this is safety.
Are there any ideas about what the colors or the specific material choices would be of the awning?
I know it'll be fabric, and then of course an aluminum frame, right? That'll be
Sure.
that'll be encased and wrapped with the fabric.
Right.
Color-wise, well, I think color-wise, personally, I would definitely do it so it'd be cohesive with the building itself.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing that would be outstanding, because I know, like, you come down to like the sign part of what the, you know, the future tenant would have, and right now, since there isn't a future, you know, there's people that want to, you know, looking at it, but this would be a key thing to be able to, you know, keep this property, you know, alive. So I don't have, but I would, you know, err back to you guys about, yeah, the color I think would need to be cohesive more than just the signage of, you know, color and everything, because we don't want anything that, you know, you got a Tudor Revival and you throw something, you know, big splash of color there, it doesn't always work.
That's what worries me, yeah.
I think, is this the one that you were talking about? This is from the Ann Arbor Historic District Design
Okay.
Guidelines, and the final sentence is consideration should be given to the height of neighboring awnings. Is that?
Yes, that's what I heard you say. So, given that, am I reading that correctly in your mind, that the consideration that we would be giving to neighboring awnings would be the corner overhang that I see just immediately next to this proposed
Oh, the chorus
awning?
return?
Yes.
Yeah, the built-out cornice return, which is like, yeah, it just comes up, kind of wraps around, just, goes up to the top of that parapet
Right.
on that roof there.
Yeah, consideration should be given to adjacent awnings. You don't want things to look out of balance. Also, though, it's appropriate for awnings to be directly over the door. And so it's a consideration. It's something to think about, where makes the most sense.
Okay.
For practical reasons and also for the aesthetic of the nearby awnings.
Is that it, Steve?
That's all I got.
Another one? Okay. Thank you for that. I also had a similar question. Are there any other questions for the applicant? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
So now, yeah, we'll move on to the public hearing. This is 203 North 4th Ave. So the public hearing is now open for this item. And if someone would like to speak to this item, now's the time. If, yeah, please. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, Ryan Panaleo, 615 West Jefferson. I actually did not anticipate speaking on this project, but I lived across the street, 201 East Ann Street, for about 5 years. So my bedroom stared at this building.
Okay.
Each day when I'd go into my apartment with my wife, we walked under a green awning of similar height. And I would walk my dog outside this building, and there was always confusion around where the entrance was to the salon. So I do really like this design because I think the pedestrian foot traffic to the farmer's market goes right down that street. And I just think it's a much clearer opening. So again, I did not anticipate commenting, but I have firsthand experience at this. I used to look right out at this building, so I felt the need to just publicly support it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good. Anyone else for public hearing? Okay. Anyone online? No. Good. Okay, so now we'll close the public hearing, and I will ask if there's a commissioner who would like to make a motion on this item. Does anyone want to do it?
Sure.
Okay.
It's fine.
I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 203 North 4th Avenue, a contributing property in the 4th Ann Historic District, to install a door in a new opening on the south elevation of the one-story addition to provide barrier-free access on the condition that the awning above the door is fabric, does not extend more than 4 feet from the building face, and is at least 7 feet above the sidewalk. As conditioned, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular, standards 1, 2, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for entrances and porches, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines, particularly as they pertain to doors and commercial awnings.
Second.
Thank you very much. That was moved by Commissioner Kaplan and seconded by Commissioner Calderon. Is that right? It was Commissioner Smith? It was a ventriloquized.
It was a neck and
Okay,
neck.
thank you. Seconded by Commissioner Smith. Thank you both. Okay, so now we'll have some discussion on the motion. I think that, this is generally straightforward, mostly because it's work done on a non-contributing part of a project. Although it is right adjacent to a historic part, right? So I think that it's not a slam dunk in that it's very close to the historic part of the structure. I think we have a lot of storefront projects where they're like removing a existing modern storefront and putting a new one in, and it's always like it seems very basic, those, in a way, where it's like, oh, it's going away and a new one's coming. You can totally picture it. This is a little harder because the existing storefront is staying and it's just kind of growing around the corner. I think that the project, they're not matching the transom height of the existing storefront. And so I'm getting held up a little bit on that, and that is causing the awning height to also not match. So there's just like a couple things where normally like everything goes away, everything comes back, and it's all clean. This is like, it's not happening quite clean, but also I do feel like it's meeting the standards even so,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I think it could be better, but it's still kind of meeting that threshold to me. And then just kind of the one side note that I really feel like it's meeting the standards, but could even be better is the lighting choice is fine, but I don't know why we're putting, historic lights on the modern storefront part of the building. We have historic lights that are kind of matching the historic lights on the historic part. I feel like, that could have been better if the applicant wants to talk to staff after if this all gets approved and you want to make a lighting change, I would support that 100%. But I think as proposed, it does meet the standards. But does anyone have any, questions or comments or discussion points on how it's meeting standards? Or does everyone think it's meeting the standards? Does anyone not think it's meeting the standards? Let's hear from you. Okay. So, yeah.
I'll just say, I mean, the opening and the barrier-free access and everything else that's being, getting rid of that small planter box, I don't see anything problematic about any of that. I don't think it interferes with how anyone visually interacts with the building behind it.
Yeah.
The awning has the potential to dovetail nicely into that corner and make it better, and also seems like it has the potential to completely get in the way of how you visually interact with the building behind it. In which case, I think it would start to touch on appropriateness. I just don't know how to specify what a good awning is. I don't know how to. I can see the danger of a bad one, but I don't know how to prescribe a protection from it, I guess, is the problem I'm having.
Yeah, I think with the awning, I would, I think there is a clash there, but also, we have a canvas awning, and then the existing is more of a overhang, like it's like like just a fake overhang of a building. It's an eave, it's a fascia. It's
not an awning.
It's
Right.
really not an awning.
Agreed.
It's acting as an awning.
Yeah.
So because of that, I think that like I said, it could have been better. There could have been more discussion, but maybe that, the architect looked at that. It didn't look right because it was two different materials, so they decided to shift it. And, we just have to go with what's proposed, and I guess just say your piece, which you did, and then discuss, which we did, and then we'll vote. But it's a really good point. And are there any other discussion points? It sounds like we are all agreeing that it's meeting the standards enough to not bring up any points. So let's just go to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, say no. Okay, the motion carries. Your application has been approved.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Pete.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So now we're going to head back up to what was F4, but I suppose is now F5. And it's 317 South Division Street. And so whenever you're ready, please, could we have the staff report?
Sure. One moment while I realign the PowerPoint. There it is. All right. 317 South Division Street. There's a very interesting history. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it was really fun to write up, so I just sort of kept going. Because there's a lot of nuances to this house. Long and short of it is, you see this house at 317 South Division. The brick apartment building to the left in this photo is 317, and, 315 South Division. Historically, it was one lot, where those two buildings are today, and there was one big house in the middle of it. That big house went away sometime after the turn of the century. It was there in 1908. But then it went away, and in 1914, this house was moved to the site. There was another house in similar size where the brick apartment building is today, but that one didn't last as long as this one and got replaced. That house was occupied by Mrs. Lena Rennie and her 3 grown children. And at that time, this was an earlier house that had the full front porch added with the heavy round half columns on brick bases. The parlor window was changed and a new slightly higher hip roof with dormers on the west and north was added. Slender brick chimney that you can just barely see in this photo was probably also from this time. And around 1988, the mail shop moved in and altered the building for commercial use, adding the handicap ramp that you can see here on the south side, changing the porch railing and steps, and altering the bay window to a new entrance for the shop. In 2004, the HDC approved applications to install a wood sign and replace the 1914 front door with a new front door, which is still there today, though I don't think it's a usable door. The site's on the east side of South Division, south of East Liberty and north of East William. And there's a laundry list in the staff report of the items that the applicant is seeking HDC approval for. I'm going to go through them as I go through the photos and the drawings. Let's see, I'm going to call out what I see in the photos that's going to be changed, and then we'll get to the drawings and I'll add anything that I missed there. From this picture, you can see porch rail and the ramp there. Non-original, those are going away, and something more historically accurate will be installed for the porch railing, and there will not be a ramp in that location anymore. Hello. Next slide, please. Thank you. Along the base of the house, this is the south side. There are basement windows under here. You can see a couple of them over here. I've got another slide later. The house right now is wrapped in aluminum siding, and all of the windows have been previously replaced. The original front windows were still there in 2011 or 2012, but unfortunately they are not today. These windows are strange little piano windows that don't quite all match. But they're just interesting. Here are those basement windows that I talked about. This is the only one that's got its original sash or an older sash. Some of them are blocked in, some of them have been replaced. An egress window is proposed to go in this window, a basement egress window, and also one near the front of the house, which I'll show you on the drawings. Can't see it right now anyway because it's got a ramp in the way. This is that same side of the house. We're a little bit back farther now, looking out towards South Division Street. And this is the back of the house. We just came around from this way. This whole wall is just a puzzle. The basement wall is different. It's CMU instead of brick. And it has this strange T111 siding. And it doesn't align here, and the corners don't quite match up. And it's hard to say what's going on this elevation. One of the work items is to remove the aluminum siding and presumably the T111 as well. And it'll be great to see what's underneath there, because I suspect that there might have been a sleeping porch or something up here, or maybe this whole wall was just replaced at some point for some reason. There's a little back stoop here to a non-original back door that was probably cut in whenever this back elevation was changed. There's an AC unit back here, I believe. This is this what looks like a driveway is actually it's a driveway, but it's also has a pedestrian easement. 3 feet of the property close to the brick building and 3 feet next to the mail shop building are it's an easement for both buildings, so pedestrians can get to the back. I'll show you a picture of where they go to in a minute. Now we're walking up the north side of the house. There's a new door that's been cut in. It really looks out of place. Part of the application says that they'd like to remove this and infill it with siding, but because it's presumed to be non-original. An original door would typically be located here, but it would be at grade. cut into the basement foundation to accommodate some basement stairs going down, or like a little landing by the back door. But the applicant says in the application that if they pull off all the siding and possibly the interior finishes and find that this is an original opening, that they'll leave a door there. Probably without, any function, but it would at least be in its historic location. This window is near the front of the house and is proposed to have an egress well as well. It matches the one on the other side. This is something that is on this commission application because staff can't approve a well this close to the front of the house. Here is the front door that was replaced in the early 2000s, 2004. There's nothing particularly special about it. They did use a wood door, which was nice, but nothing special there. This is sort of a sideways picture. This door was added in when it became the mail shop, and it has side lights and some sort of panels up here above. The application proposes to remove all of this because it was all non-original and copy a bay window that can be seen in earlier photos of the house to bring it back to something closer to its original appearance. It's just one large window with two smaller windows flanking. This is a photo to show you how big this house on the other side is. So this is the mail shop's entire parking lot back here, and this goes to the back lot line. It should also be noted that these houses on Thompson, all up and down the block, they have extremely shallow lots, and they are also built to within 10 feet of the lot line. There are no spacious, luxurious backyards here. Let's see, here's my photo of looking the other way. This is the brick apartment building. Right here, behind Commissioner Rockland, is a gate, and if you stuck your head in there, you would see about 15 trash and recycling carts. And those get wheeled out down the pedestrian easement, presumably set on the curb, whatever day that's picked up. All right, so the proposal is to put an addition behind the house, and it would be 3 stories tall, and it would have a 1-story hyphen. It's by definition, it might not be truly a hyphen because it's a little bit wide, but it has to be 10 feet wide in order to meet building code and zoning code to make this a bona fide addition. I'm not going to go into the details, but if you ever want to learn about it, give me a call. But it's there for a reason. This 3-story addition also has a basement, and all 4 levels would be occupied. And you can see the egress wells here, 2 on the new addition, 2 here on the south side of the house, and 2 on the north side of the house. In addition, on the north side of the house, there's a whole row of trash and recycling carts. They're in an enclosure. It looks like it's wood. You'll see it in a couple minutes. There aren't a lot of details given, but I do appreciate that they're going to have a corral to go home to at night, because that's something that can get out of hand pretty easily and look pretty bad. Lower level demolition plan. There's a first floor, also a demo plan. This goes away. A more appropriate door gets put there. The one that's there is okay, but they'd like a new door. This door in the back goes away, and this door on the side and the little stairs go away. Existing second floor plan. A couple of these windows you'll see on the elevations are proposed to become egress windows. Since all of the windows have been previously replaced, staff really doesn't have any issues with replacing the modern double hungs with a modern casement. They would all have a false mutton across the middle to make them look like a 1/1 sash, but they'll be able to open out and meet the requirements for the amount of space you need to get a body out of a window in an emergency. Existing roof plan. Okay. First, we're going through the existing elevations. This is the front. This is the side. I already talked about that stuff that we're getting rid of. This is the back. This is the driveway side. Okay, here is the proposed. You can see the new addition in the background. It's going to read basically as another building behind this house, connected with the one-story hyphen room that touches both of them. We have a new porch railing here, 36 inches tall, a new, not restored, but replica bay window, and a new front door. There are the egress windows here near the front that have some screening, new fence and landscaping to screen the new basement windows, which I think is an appropriate way to approach this. New aluminum clad windows would match, no, they're actually replacing all of the existing vinyl windows with new aluminum clad windows, so the house will be consistent, and removing that aluminum siding and painting and repairing what's underneath. So on the south elevation, let's see, this is not the driveway side. Here's our new egress window. Here's our prettied up porch and the new addition. The one-story hyphen has vertical siding to distinguish it, but it's set in far enough that you shouldn't be able to see that really from anywhere unless you're walking around the house toward the back. The roof of the addition is nearly flat. It's very slightly pitched just to shed water, and it is about 4 inches shorter than the peak of the hip roof. Windows are all super straightforward, 1/1. There's hardy siding. This is the back, the rear elevation. This is the north side along the driveway. This structure is about as low-key as you can make something, and to put behind another house. You can see the attachment here. One apartment will enter through the front porch. Here's apartment B, which is upstairs or downstairs. Apartment C is one of the two in the new addition, and then there's one other door on the facade that faces the street on the new addition. Lots of bedrooms. Here's an interesting floor plan. This is the first floor plan. So you can see here we've got all the trash carts over here. This is a deck with stairs. So there's really not going to be parking here. There is room for, here they've marked off one parking space, 9 by 18. It's behind the front of the house, so it's a legal parking space. This will be concrete going toward the back around the side of the house with a planting strip here, and then we've got planting all around on the other side. You can see the two different entryways into different apartments. Second floor plan, and the third floor. So here's an existing photo, so you can get a sense of, from the applicant, you can get a sense of how far apart these buildings are. And here's a rendering of what the addition would look like. I do appreciate the care taken in choosing a lighter color for the front building to make it stand out and a darker color behind to make it recede. There were a few things like skirting. It didn't really talk about it on the application, but this looks like new appropriate skirting. We've got our corral for, oh, I'm sorry, this is actually the wood fence that will also hide the corral for the cans. And here's the fence for that other egress window. There are lights along the side here, which aren't typical on a house like this, but this is not a typical residential neighborhood the way some of the other historic neighborhoods are. All right, I'll go through the standards and guidelines and then circle back around with my staff report. So 2, 5, 9, and 10 have all been read to you already. From the Secretary of Interior's guidelines for building site, it's not recommended to introduce new construction which is visually incompatible in terms of size, scale, design, materials, color, and texture, or which destroy historic relationships on the site. For additions, they recommend constructing a new addition so that there's the least possible loss of historic materials, so that character-defining features are not obscured, damaged, or destroyed. It's also recommended to locate the attached exterior addition at the rear or on an inconspicuous side of a historic building, and limiting its size and scale in relationship to the historic building. Also designing new additions in a manner that makes clear what is historic and what is new. Not recommended is designing a new addition so that its size and scale in relation to the historic building are out of proportion, thus diminishing the historic character. From the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines for all additions, it's appropriate to locate a required addition on the least character-defining elevation, keeping it subordinate in volume to the historic building. It's also appropriate to place a new addition on a non-character-defining or inconspicuous elevation and limiting the size and scale, and to design the addition so it's compatible in terms of massing, materials, relationship of solids to voids, and proportion of openings. It's also appropriate to design a new addition in a manner that makes clear what is historic and what is new. All right, I have a few more comments for you. So normally when we talk about residential houses in residential neighborhoods, which this is, we invoke the 50% rule that's in the design guidelines. It's not a rule, it's a guideline. But that says that neither the footprint nor the addition's floor area should be more than 50% of that of the original house. So with that, the footprint increase in this building is 107%, and the floor area is an increase of 148%. So the reason this is different, though, is that it's downtown, it's in the DDA, it's flanked by very large buildings on both sides. It has a small backyard, but nobody else really does. And it's important to keep in context that we're looking site specifically, rather than thinking about this like you would about the Old Fourth Ward or the Old West Side or the Broadway Historic District. You really have to look at the setting and take that into consideration. The volume of the addition is pushing the size limits compared to the historic building. They did manage to make it lower, which I appreciate. But the design and materials are low-key and compatible, and the work proposed for the historic house is appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thatcher. We'll now move on to the review committee report. Commissioner Kaplan.
Sure. So I don't know if you'd agree with me, David. One of the things when I'm seeing the graphics here or the photographs, it feels to me like when we were standing behind this building that the neighboring buildings on both sides felt a lot closer in. I felt like the parking lot behind the building was much more enclosed and encapsulated. I only say that because to sort of reinforce what Jill said in the staff report, I feel like where this addition goes behind the building and how you can see the massing of the building right next door to it, I don't think, even though it's going above the residential guideline for additions, I don't think it poses the risk of dwarfing or over-competing with the main house that's being restored. I didn't get the sense that there was a threat of that, especially because it's so enclosed by everything else.
Yeah, this is really a good photo here, just to get a feel for the context, where you have the neighboring buildings are pretty much, right in line, more or less, with what's being proposed. So that is obviously really important to take into account. What's being proposed is 3 stories. This is obviously a 2-story addition with a 1-story. You can see like a little bit poking out of the front of the house. It looks like they have an addition where they bumped up the front of their house. That looks like a kind of a half-story or something like that. So you could say that that's, pushing 3 stories there. I think that what we've heard so far, I think everyone kind of has a feel for the site context. I think the other things that were discussed on site was that the zoning is such that this property were not in the historic district, you could build, very tall building right up to the edges of the property line. So that's also something to note. And also, same is true for the other buildings on the east, buildings that you see, like that house right there. So those buildings to the east could also be built right to the property line. At least that's my understanding. Okay, so, great. Now let's move on to the applicant report. So would the applicant please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record for a second time, and you've got up to 5 minutes for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Panaleo. I live at 615 West Jefferson in the Old West Side. As you know, I lived in the Old Fourth Ward for about 8 years, so I'm very familiar with the downtown area and just more recently moved to the Old West Side. I'm the new owner of 317 South Division Street, right in the heart of downtown. Over the past several years, I've restored several homes, mainly in the Old Fourth Ward, Carytown district. They've been fairly large renovations, and I think it's become a labor of love for me to restore some of the most neglected houses in very important neighborhoods. I live in a historic district myself. I care deeply about all of our historic districts, and this is absolutely no different. I think the one distinction here is I've never worked in a D1 zone before. This, when you sit on the porch of this property, you very much feel like you're in the heart of downtown. In Arbor, you feel the liveliness of downtown. And for me, taking buildings that have been neglected and restoring them is really a passion of mine. And sadly, this building has been neglected. It has been the mail shop for 41 years, and we're excited to turn this building into a home. My goal is fairly simple. It's to bring it back to be a home, restore the features that make it special, and return it to be a contributing part of the neighborhood. We reached out to the Bates Library, got an original photo, worked very closely with staff to kind of understand the front facade of the building. It was a blurry photo, but we got a sense of the original door opening and kind of the 3 windows in front. So we're excited about replacing that. I have a front porch in my house. I've always wanted outdoor space. I think it's just so valuable in our downtown area. In regards to the addition, I know there's a lot to be discussed there, but I want you to know that the design was very intentional. We worked very closely with staff. Thank you guys very much for all of your feedback to get it to this point. We discussed different roof elevations and shapes, ultimately landed on a flat roof design as we felt like it was more subtle. We've been consistently balancing not only compatibility, but distinguishment between the new structure and the old, and being very mindful of the buildings around 317 South Division. And as staff mentioned, the buildings around 317 are very deep, they're very tall. It is just an incredibly unique site. I've never operated in a site like this before. Again, traditionally my projects have been in the R4C, Old Fourth Ward district. I also want to note that many neighbors, community members have written in letters of support. I want to thank them for that. It means a lot to me because it just reinforces the importance of not only this project, but just of our historic districts itself. The last thing I'll say is I think it's important to share that, like, my intentions, this is not just a pure development project for me. This is a preservation project. I'm really excited about the opportunity to thoughtfully add housing to our downtown core. I want to honor the past of this building and what existed previous to what it is today, and give it a very meaningful future. I hope you'll support this project. I very much appreciate your time and consideration, and I hope this building can stand proud in our downtown for the next 100 years. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan. Great. Okay, so now we'll have some commissioner questions. So are there any commissioners that have questions for the applicant? Okay. No questions at the moment, so in that case, we will move on to the public hearing. So this is the public hearing for 317 South Division Street. And it looks like we have some people on the podium right now, so please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Chris Crockett. I'm president of the Old Fourth Ward Association, and this is Jeff Crockett, who's the communications officer. We've worked with Ryan on other projects, specifically an Ann Street project that was a building that was almost falling into ruin through neglect. And we're here tonight to support this project by Ryan. We think he does excellent work. So.
Ryan also did a beautiful job in restoring 511 East Ann, a home that had been neglected for many years and was in danger of demolition by neglect. Included in that project was an addition that added occupancy in a way that respected the historic context of our neighborhood, just as what he's done here. Ryan reached out to our neighborhood for input and support, which he received. He took all the right steps, and we have complete confidence that Ryan will deliver on the plans he has presented to you, which are sensitive to the context of the neighborhood. Please support his plan. We would like to thank all of you who serve on the Historic District Commission for your service to the Ann Arbor community, and welcome Jenna and Sarah to the Historic District Commission. We have learned through experience that the HDC, and in particular coordinator Jill Thatcher, have played a vital role in providing guidance to the owners of historic properties, enabling them to maintain and improve their properties in a manner that respects their historic significance to our community. And that has been our experience through multiple restoration projects. Unfortunately, there are those in Ann Arbor community who would like to eliminate historic districts so that historic homes can be torn down to increase density by building multiplexes. As Ryan's project has demonstrated, there is a way to increase density in historic districts by adding sensible additions to the rear of contributing structures, consistent with the context of the historic neighborhood. Furthermore, density has been added by redesigning interiors, which are not subject to historic district ordinance guidelines. We are concerned that the second draft of the comprehensive land use plan replaces a statement in support of historic districts with the following statement. The plan takes no position on historic districts. The original statement was, historic district boundaries will be maintained and development will continue to adhere to the existing standards and design guidelines approved by the Historic District Commission. Reference to the Historic District Commission was removed from the club. And clearly, taking no position is another way of disapproving historic districts. We encourage all Ann Arbor residents who support historic preservation to write to the Planning Commission asking them to restore the original language. Thanks once again for your service.
Thank you very much. Anyone else for public comment? Doesn't look like it.
We do have one. David Lewis is the project architect. Let me give him.
I'm guessing he's not going to be.
David, you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. I apologize if you can't see us. We're having Zoom camera troubles.
Okay. Yeah, my name is David Lewis. I am the architect for the project, Lewis Greenspan Architects, 440 South Main Street, Ann Arbor, Michigan, 48104. I just want to reiterate that, I've been really impressed with, the process that Ryan's led this job through. We explored a lot of different ideas. We had several meetings with Jill and Mariana, and I think, where we've landed is just a great kind of win-win as far as, restoring a nice old building that's in, tremendous need for some TLC and maximizing desperately needed housing downtown. So I really feel like this is, we've landed on a great spot that's really is going to improve the property, improve the building, and improve downtown as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else?
No one else online.
Very good. Okay, so now the public hearing for this item is closed. And we'll go on to the motion. Is there a commissioner who would like to make a motion on this item?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Okay, we've got someone else who
Oh,
raised their hand
good.
first.
Yes,
I'm
one
sorry.
of the rookies.
Yeah.
By all means.
Yeah, Commissioner Nisbet.
I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 317 South Division Street, a contributing property in the East William Historic District, to restore the historic house and add a 2,598 square foot rear addition. As proposed, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular standards 2, 5, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for building site and additions, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines for all additions.
Second.
Okay, that was moved by Commissioner Nisbet and seconded by Commissioner Kaplan. Okay, so this is quite a large application, just content-wise, I should say. It is also a large addition, so there's a lot to discuss. And so, I think that we'll try to chunk it up here, but just obviously the biggest kind of question is just the size of the addition. I think that we heard a lot from the staff report and from the applicant, and then also from, there's, I don't know how many letters here, several, let's say, and the public comment. We've heard a lot of support for this project. So, I'm sure, the design phase probably had, something, or at least in someone's mind, let's build something as big as we can, right? Behind here, I think what was ended up with is something that is not looming over, the historic structure. So whether it's too big is a question maybe, but it doesn't appear to be, we've seen additions proposed that just from the drawings and, renderings, you can just really have that sense of feeling of this thing is really looming over the historic structure. But I personally don't see that in this case. I'm wondering if anyone is kind of feeling that this addition is just too big for this site. Okay, so there's that. The other kind of, I guess, if we're just talking standards here, the other kind of questionable next biggest thing is the egress windows. The egress windows are typically, we like them to be as far back as possible from the right-of-way, from the sidewalk, obviously. There's two that are close to the sidewalk, and we've heard why they have to be there for the proposal, but, still, the standards are the standards, and so I'm wondering, again, same thing, is anyone feeling like the egress windows are inappropriate, they shouldn't be there, or just have a discussion, anything you want to say about the egress windows? No. Okay, I think that the context matters, the fence and planting will hopefully help mitigate some of the effects of having those egress windows so close to the sidewalk. Okay. I think third on the list maybe is the lights that are going to be on the north elevation. I'm guessing if no one had comment on the addition or the egress windows, the lights are going to be okay, but I just want to bring it up as a possible point of contention. I think we probably all understand why they should be there, but does anyone have any comments about the lighting? Okay, very good. And now, I'll just open it up to just any comments about anything. Does anyone want to say anything about this project? Just general comment?
Okay. Yeah, I think there's just a lot in here. The project really packs a lot into this. I feel like if we wanted to, we could all discuss a lot about this project because it is so interesting and so unique to what we're used to looking at. And I think staff, really did a great job kind of parsing out what's important here and where is it okay? Well, where are the standards working and where are the standards really not really applicable because of the context and the setting. So, I'll just say that I think that this is really interesting, really thorough application. The application is really great, including all of the information, all the detail. The renderings were extremely helpful. I do read this as a hyphen. I think it's a great hyphen. Just one story. I mean, hyphens could be 3 stories, and then you'd be losing even more historic material from the back of the house. This is a 1-story hyphen, separator, whatever. I think it's very effective, and it's not just kind of slapped on as a concept, or so you can use a hyphen as a concept. This is extremely functional with 3 separate entrances for the. It's really going to be a hub of activity there as well. So I really appreciate that. Okay, it doesn't look like I sparked any conversation there, so we're just going to go right to a vote after that. All those in favor of this project, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, say no. The application passes. It's been approved. They like me to say, please note that you must receive all required permits before starting this project, and also that what's on the permits has to match what's on the historic district proposal. So good luck, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay. Moving right along, we're at F6, and it's 333 8th Street. The staff report, whenever you're ready, please.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This 1914 two-story home features a sculpted concrete block foundation, 1/1 windows plus a fixed window under the front porch with a leaded glass transom, and a stone block front porch. There's a bay window on the back half of the first floor north elevation, and the home's 3 exterior doors appear to be from the period of significance. A gabled dormer on the north elevation appears to be original to the house. Another on the south elevation is inset and is modern. The house was first occupied by Manuel and Tina Fry. Manuel was a machine hand at Superior Manufacturing Company. And the house is located on the east side of 8th Street, north of West Liberty and south of West Washington. The applicant is seeking HDC approval to remove a rear porch and construct a 128-square-foot bathroom addition off the rear. All right. I appreciate in this photo that they're probably not historic because they're not big enough, but they do have the traditional pair of pine trees that were often found in front of German houses on the Old West Side. Here's looking down the north side of the house. You can see the lovely little bay window there. There's a large modern garage behind. That'll come into play in a moment. This is the back of the house, and this is the van that you saw in the last photo parked in the driveway. This porch is from the period of significance, though it has been altered quite a bit. It was sort of informally enclosed. These are screens. It might have had windows, not really sure. It's being sort of held together right now. It has vertical, it's like wainscot for a wall here, a knee wall here. I don't think that was original. It's possible that it was. It's not in great shape. They also used it for the skirting. Here's another view. This is a very lovely back door that they are proposing to reuse as the new back door in a different location. Here's a view down the south side yard. It's a big open side yard, and it has a side door here with a cute little canopy over the top. These stakes were placed, the review committee saw them when they were there, were placed by the property owner to show where the extent would be of the addition. It's small. It's constrained on this side by the driveway. They don't want to get any closer to that driveway than they have to because they park vehicles there. And it's constrained on this side by the corner of the house, which is inset modestly, which you'll see in a second. Just another view. Some work has been done on the decking, but it's a pretty standard back porch. That's the back door. That would be reused. This is to give you some context. To the south, there is a house with a very large addition. It was probably put on before this was a historic district, or before the modern rules changed that said we could only look at the front 15 feet of the house. Here's the corner of the addition. Here's the site plan showing the existing garage and the extent of the existing concrete driveway. I believe it goes out like this. This is part of the concrete. So they've tucked it in here between the corner of the house, just inset a little bit, like the width of the trim board. And this is the little porch that's there now that it would replace. It is located so that this dining room window remains open, uncovered, not obscured. The addition has a small mudroom and a bathroom, main floor bathroom, useful for, I don't know where I was going with that. It has small windows, but it is a bathroom and a mudroom, so it doesn't have, large, glorious windows. Here are some renderings. It has a little porch, a little inset porch to enter from. And there is vertical siding, I believe it's cementitious, below the trim board here, and it's hardy panels above, so fiber cement panels on the upper half. This is the west elevation. There are no changes. Here's the existing north. You can see the little porch here on the left and the new proposed one, new proposed mudroom, bathroom. It's just a very small addition that ties in very well with the rest of the house. It's modest. It's distinguished as new work. And there's a good rendering of it. Just a couple more photos here showing how close it would get. I see. This was not pavement. It's maybe used to be. All right. You have heard 2, 9, and 10 already tonight, and you have heard some of the recommendations for additions. I have read these. So, from the Secretary of Interior's standards, it's recommended to consider the attached exterior addition in terms of the new use and the appearance of other buildings in the historic district or neighborhood. Design for the new work may be contemporary or may reference design motifs from the historic building. This is a little bit of both. It's a sort of a traditional look using some contemporary kinds of siding that fits in very well. Not recommended is attaching a new addition so that the character-defining features are obscured, damaged, or destroyed. I do not believe that that is the case in this case. From the guidelines for district or neighborhood setting, it's not recommended to introduce new construction that's visually incompatible or that destroys historic relationships within the setting. And from the City of Ann Arbor design guidelines, it's appropriate to limit the size and scale of the addition in relationship to the historic building so that it does not diminish or visually overpower the building or the district. That is not the case in this example. So let me go back up here to our drawings. That's a good one. The addition is 11 feet by 14 feet. I mentioned already that the historic back door will be reused. And staff's opinion is that the work is appropriate. The existing rear porch has been altered to a point where only the roof structure retains its integrity. Therefore, the proposed work is an appropriate way to add a first floor bathroom that it's a compatible design, that's nominally visible from the street. It's differentiated adequately while remaining complementary to the historic house and district. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thatcher. We will now move on to the review committee report. Let's hear your report, Commissioner Kaplan.
I thought, echoing what was said in the staff report, everything everything was straightforward here. The only thing that even mildly raised question was the placement close to the side of the house of the addition. But when you see, and it was convenient that the work van was there, but when you see how it would be necessary to have that car placement so that you could still use the garage with a second car, and also the existing window of the house, the homeowners weren't left much choice but to put it there, and still were able to indent sufficiently from the back of the house that I think it respects the existing boundaries of the house.
Thank you very much. I agree, and I have nothing to add. So we'll go right into the applicant report. It looks like we have the applicant here on Zoom, the architect. So please state your name and address for the record, and just give your presentation, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. My name is Molly Batchelor. I'm the architect on this project. My address is 823 Minor Street in Ann Arbor. I think what I would like to add is just that the genesis of this project is to allow aging in place. This house is nearly as it was when it was built. There's been very few changes, just a dormer in the attic. Everything else, including the interior layout's the same, so there is no first floor bathroom, which is a real challenge for people facing mobility issues. And this is the only place we can put it. If we could do it and restore this porch somehow, we would have considered that. But without doing some sort of front side addition, this is really our only option. And we've kept it as small as we can without miniaturizing anything. Again, mobility issues. We don't want anything too constrained, but this really is, quite modestly sized for what we're fitting in. And as was already mentioned, we've kept that south face offset, and we would do it more if we could, but again, it would not work to get through with a walker and all of that, given the other site constraints. I think that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Molly. Okay, are there any commissioner questions? Okay. In that case, we'll go to the public hearing, and so now we'll open the public hearing for 333 8th Street. There's no one here, and do we have anyone online?
We do not.
We do not, so we'll close the public hearing, and I'd ask if there's a commissioner who would like to make a motion on this item.
Oh, my turn.
Commissioner Carter?
Yep.
Great.
Again. I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 333 8th Street, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to construct a 128 square foot bathroom addition off the rear elevation of the house as proposed. The work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, materials, and relationship to the house and the surrounding area, and meets the City of Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines for all additions and the Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings. In particular, standards 2, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for district or neighborhood setting and new additions.
Do we have a second? Okay. Great. That was moved by Commissioner Carter and seconded by Commissioner Smith. So now we'll move on to some discussion. I think we've heard from staff and from Commissioner Kaplan, and I agree this is a very straightforward project. The application, again, is very clear and thorough, and we really appreciate that. And so I'm wondering, is there any, yeah?
I just wanted to say something. For the last couple of months, something that Chuck Bultman said about these historic houses, and that they do need to evolve and can evolve over time. And I think that Mariana and Jill have done a great job, and the architects that we have heard from tonight have done a great job of doing that in a really sensitive manner. I really appreciate that. I think this is a great project, perfect description of how a house has to evolve with its occupants to address the needs that change over time. I think it's a great project. I'm happy to support it.
Thank you. Any other comments? Very good. Let's go to a vote. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, say no. Okay, the motion carries, and the application has been approved. Thank you very much. Yep. Okay. So now, we're more than halfway done. We're heading on to F7. Is that right? F7. The next hearing is 345 South Division Street.
That went more quickly than I was ready for.
That's okay. Take your time. Take a drink of water.
All right, 345 South Division. We're back on Division Street for the third time tonight. That's a record.
Yeah.
This house is in the East William Historic District. It is a contributing structure, and it's the 1865 James C. Allen House. It used to have a long wing with a gabled roof facing Division and a smaller perpendicular wing to the north, or an upright wing. The north wing is still there, you'll see it in a second, but the roof has been altered, similar to the 317 South Division that we heard from a little while ago. This house was altered to have a hipped roof with a couple of little dormers. It was very stylish then. This one got changed in 1908. And at that point, it was given its colonial revival front porch, and it is a spectacular front porch. It's wide and it's deep and it's great. It features short fluted ionic columns on rock-faced block piers, which extend to the ground. Between these is a wood balustrade with turned spindles. And there are older paired windows with distinctive hoods from a previous style of house. In 1991, the commission denied a request from the previous owner for vinyl siding. And in 1994, the HDC approved new cedar siding and cedar shingles along with new roofing and an ornamental iron fence. Site's located at the northeast corner of South Division and East William Streets. And the applicant is seeking HDC approval to remove 2 windows and a door and infill the openings, install 4 new windows, 2 singles and a pair, and a door, all in new openings, and to enlarge 2 historic window openings and install new, larger windows in them. It's confusing as heck, but once you see the drawings, it'll make perfect sense. All right. Front of the house, gorgeous. There's already a handicap ramp in place, which is great. It has been used as a law office for many years. This is a photo looking down the driveway off of South Division. Notice that there's this sort of high bay window. It's probably a dining room. And that wall extends back. And then there's another little wall behind it. You can't even see it in this picture. It really doesn't show up. But this is what I'm talking about. It's probably original to the north wing that was mentioned earlier. It does have Italianate brackets. But it also has this window that is a narrow casement window with wider trim than the rest of the house has. And this is the reason that we vary the trim width on houses, so that we can look at it later and say, hey, this window isn't like the other ones. It was probably installed later. And the contractor has done work on the house before and also confirmed that this is not an original window opening. So this is the first area. This window, I'm not sure if it goes away or not, but there would be 2 windows here instead on this wall. Around the back, there's a little porch back here. Oh, there's that window a little bit closer up. It's just sort of an awkward size and shape. Going up the stairs here on the little porch, there's a door to the right, which I think I have a picture of in a minute. It's proposed to infill that opening and put the door right here. It makes a lot more sense for the interior layout for them to do that. There it is, not a historic door, going onto this wall here. Now, we're still in the back of the house. Notice that these 2 houses are like 6 or 7 feet apart. They're really close. This is a chimney, an original chimney going up. You see the really cool old Italianate brackets from the older style of house that this once was. There's 1 single window here, and there's proposed for that to go away and to put a pair of windows up a little bit closer to the street. And you can't see it in this photo, but there's a window on the other side of the chimney here. Here it is. Oh, there are actually 2 windows here. See, you couldn't even see them from the last photo. This window is not like the others. This is an old window. It has a very cool rounded sill. It's got a lot of detail on the trim and the casing, and it's really inset very deep. You can see how that's like a good 6 inches there. So we talked to the contractor on site, and he can confirm this when it's his chance to talk. But my recommendation to the commission is that this window be left alone, and I think he was okay with that. And because this is a historic feature, and the proposal was to make it bigger to match a new window that's proposed to go on this side of the chimney, but there's no reason for it, and it's a cool window. You don't really see it. I never would have noticed it had it not been pointed out to me, but nevertheless, it's an architectural feature of the house. There it is. I especially like the round sill. You don't see that very often. And there it is up there. Here we, again, houses really close together. I couldn't even get a good picture to show you where those windows are going to be installed, the pair of windows, but they would match approximately these windows that were, from a slightly more modern era than the Italianate, probably when they redid it in 1908. All right. Hang on a second, I gotta move some things out of the way on my screen. Okay, this is the basement floor plan, or maybe it's the first floor plan. It's the first floor. This is the back of the house. This is that little staircase and that door and where the door wants to go and the windows on the back. I've blown it up here to try to show you what's going on. Walking our way around here, this is that awkward casement. Go over here, and you can see that on the bottom that there would be 2 windows instead that are about the same size. I think it's that this opening is just getting a little bit bigger, and there would be 2 windows there. On the back, you see that the door has been infilled right here, and now it swings inward over here. And up top here, you've got the 2 photos that you saw in the photo infilled and a pair placed next to them that are similar in style to the windows that are on the front here of the kitchen, facing East William. Again, second floor, same thing. This is a new window opening. This is that existing one that staff thinks needs to stay there. And at last, the drawing that makes sense of it all. Door infilled, new window. This is the window that I would like to see left alone. These 2 are infilled. There's nothing special about those windows. And this pair put in instead to get more light into the kitchen. And here's the new door opening. Here we've got, this is the updated opening. It's made a little wider to be a little bit more compatible. It's not that skinny casement. This is a casement, and I think that the other one on the back was too on the second floor, but they're the style of having the false muttons to make them compatible and look like hung windows, 2/2, but able to meet egress requirements. Here's a roof plan of the house. There are window details in the packet, lots of them. The windows would match the windows of the rest of the house that have been previously really replaced also. They are simulated divided lights. That's the good kind, with the muttons on the inside and the outside and the spacer bars in between. And 2, 5, 9, and 10. Oop, 10's not on here. Have all been read to you tonight. From the guidelines for building site, it's recommended to identify, retain, and preserve buildings and their features, as well as features of the site that are important in defining its overall historic character. From the guidelines for windows, recommended is designing and installing additional windows on rear or non-character defining elevations if required by the new use. New window openings may also be cut into exposed party walls. Such design should be compatible with the overall design of the building, but not duplicate the fenestration pattern and detailing of a character-defining elevation. I should note that all of these new window openings are for egress. They're in bedrooms. It's going back to residential use. It's going, well, yeah, it's going to be a house again. Not appropriate is removing or radically changing a window that is important in defining the overall historic character of the property, or changing the number, location, and size by cutting new openings, blocking in, or installing replacement sash which does not fit the historic opening. All right. I don't have a lot more to say on this one, except I have, I have a complication for the motion, because I am suggesting that you condition the motion on the condition that the historic second floor window on the east elevation is not altered in any way. That would be an addition to the motion. I believe that it's already conditioned, yeah, so we would just add it to the list of conditions. Right now, I'm suggesting that a new door that's proposed on the back be approved by staff before permits may be issued, because there wasn't any detail on the door. You're not even going to be able to see it anywhere, but we'd like to take a look at it. And that the window trim on all new and modified windows is differentiated in size from the historic trim by at least a ½ inch, because that also, it was specified to match it exactly. But we've talked about that, and I think that this covers everything. If we have those two conditions, plus the historic second floor window on the east elevation is not altered in any way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thatcher. Okay, we'll now move on to the review committee report. Commissioner Kaplan, please.
I think that was very complete on the part of staff. I think the one other thing I would just add, that being on this site, it cannot be overemphasized how inconspicuous the locations are on this house where these changes are being proposed. I mean, the dominant faces of this house are the street-facing sides, and we are tucked back in either the back corner in a recess with reference to the door replacement, but then in the windows that we're talking about, you're in this narrow channel between two houses, as you see in the photograph. I mean, these are really, really subtle, unseen places.
Yeah, it's a great point. We really had to squeeze in and maybe do some trespassing to actually get to where we needed to go to see the, especially the windows on the back there, like you would see from this photo. Yeah, and there's a huge variety of windows and window trims on this project also. So it's not like there is kind of some cohesive pattern that is easily read that you can that they're manipulating in some way or changing. I think everything that kind of has a pattern is being left as is. And I guess otherwise, just from the project, they're doing an incredible amount of work to this structure, and so it's a huge scope of work, and they are changing a few things, but it does seem minimal relative to just how much they're doing to the interior. They're not doing that much to the exterior. Okay, so let's hear from the applicant now. So do we have the applicant here? Great. So approach the podium, please. State your name and address for the record, and we'd like to hear your presentation. Thank you.
I'm Sean Hartman. I'm representing Perkins Construction. We're also representing the client, who was very adamant on maintaining the spirit of the property, keeping it as original as possible. Perkins Construction is very familiar with the property. We've worked on it for the past, I want to say 25 years. We built that front porch. We designed that front porch to coincide with the neighborhood. We were a little upset that we were turning it into a commercial property and taking some of the life, especially nightlife, out of the property, but we're very excited to make it a residence again. It is going to be a residence enjoyed by the current client, and there'll be some times where he offers it to the public for an Airbnb. Where it was once a dark corner of the nightlife of Ann Arbor is now going to be lit, and they're very excited about keeping the exterior as original as humanly possible. Yes, there's a ridiculous amount of work going on the interior, and we've already done some exploratory demolition, and there's a lot there. But they're adamant on keeping the exterior original. I did speak with the clients, and they're actually excited about keeping that original window, keeping it the way it is. We're going to adjust the size of the adjacent window to accommodate some lighting requirements that are for that bedroom, but they have no problems with changing that. I already have drawings drawn up for the proposed door that's going to be somewhat visible. I mean, if you turn the corner, you'll be able to see it, and it's gonna match. There's an adjacent property, I think it's 411 East Williams. There's a door that's visible. We're gonna match that. It's gonna be like a half glass, unobscured, no muttons on the half glass, but possibly something decorative on the lower portion. And that's it.
Thank you, Sean. Does anyone have any questions for Sean? I have one while you're thinking, maybe. But, okay, so it sounded like the design team, the client, the applicant, let's say, is good with keeping that window that staff talked about. Yeah, great. And so I think right now, it sounds like, are you changing it, though, like from what's proposed? If it's like a type 2 right now, is it not going to be a type 2 anymore? You said maybe it needs to be, like right now, I should be clear. So we're saving that window that's on one side of the chimney.
Correct.
Opposite the chimney, there's another new opening and new window proposed. Are you
Right, it's
proposing
still
that
gonna
that's
be
bigger?
egress. That's always been intended as
Yes.
egress, but we have to make it slightly larger to accommodate the lighting requirements
Right,
for the room.
I got it.
The window size and opening will still be the same. It's just there's much more trim on the original window. So, yeah, when you have this, there's a lot of stepping going into the glass. When you said the cavity is much deeper in.
Oh, okay.
You have to go in a few times to achieve
Interesting.
that.
Okay.
Size-wise, it should still look the same
Okay.
on the.
So for the exterior, what we're seeing as proposed is going to be the same?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. And then the other conditions, like trim size, what were the conditions? Well, it was trim size and
Slightly
there was
altered.
Yeah, so you've got that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a proposed drawing. It's hand-drawn right now.
Yeah.
It will be what's going to be built. I'm going to submit that to Jill on Monday.
Okay.
The new door that,
And right, and the new door will
And
be
the new
staff
door.
approval, which
Yeah.
you said you
I'm
have.
not sure if that's going to be ready Monday.
Okay.
We'll see how quickly we can turn it around.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, you'll have
just
it.
get it to
Good,
us
okay.
before we can sign off on your building permit.
You got it.
Very good. Okay, any other questions for Sean? No? Very good. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Now we'll go to the public hearing. So this is the public hearing for 345 South Division. We don't have anyone approaching the podium. Is there anyone online?
No one is indicating online.
Very good. So we'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask if there's any commissioner who'd like to make a motion on this item.
It's my turn.
It sure is, yeah, thank you.
So when
About time.
I make a mess of this, Jill, you'll have to help me fix it. I move the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 345 South Division Street, contributing property in the East William Historic District to remove 2 windows and a door, and infill the openings with wood siding, to install 4 new windows, 2 singles and a pair, and a door in new openings, and enlarge 2 historic window openings and install new windows in them on the following conditions. 1, that the new door is approved by staff before building permits may be issued. 2, that the historic window on the second floor east elevation remain untouched. And number 3, that all new and modified windows is differentiated in size from the historic trim by at least a ½ an inch. As conditioned, the work as proposed is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, materials, and relationship to the house and surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular standards 2, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for building site and windows, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District guidelines, particularly as they pertain to windows.
Mr. Smith, would you care to change the word 2 to 1 in the part of the sentence that says, and enlarge 2 historic window openings?
Yes, 1.
Perfect, thank you.
So does that take care of the other condition of leaving that one?
Yep, and he
That's in there.
understands. Yep.
We got it all set. Okay, so that was moved by Commissioner Smith. Do I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Kaplan. Fantastic, thank you both. Okay, so, great. I think that, again, we've got it's a bit of there's a lot going on, but it's more or less straightforward what's going on, and I think we've heard a lot about it. Is everyone clear? And does anyone want to bring up any, points of contention here with what's being proposed? No. Okay. I think that's because, the site that we have is so constrained in such a way that all of the changes are happening in these hard-to-see locations, which we appreciate. So then let's get right to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, say no. The motion carries. Your application's been approved. Thank you, Sean. Yep, take care. Great. So we are moving right along to the final hearing of the evening. We're back to our numbers here, F8, and it's 403 2nd Street. Oh, that's beautiful.
That's a great photo.
Yeah. Very nice. The staff report whenever you're ready, please. Thank you.
All right. This is 403 2nd Street. It is located at the corner of William Street and 2nd Street, facing 2nd Street. The house is first shown on the 1916 Sanborn map as a two-story dwelling with a full-width front porch with a one-story rear section and a rear porch. By 1925, the accessory structure had been constructed near the southeast corner of the parcel, which is the current garage. There appear to be no major changes to the house during the period of significance or to the garage. Building permits were filed to enclose the front porch in 1973. The rear porch is also enclosed, unclear when that happened. So there's a lot going on here. The applicant is seeking HDC approval to construct a basement egress window and well on the north elevation and to convert a door opening on the west elevation into an egress window. Also included in the application are an additional basement egress window on the south elevation, removal of non-original siding and trim, unenclosing of the porches, removing the chain link fence, and installing a new patio, among some other things. Most of them could be staff approved, but since we have the egress windows needed to come to the commission, so all of this is included, and so I'm just going to go through all of it. This is the front of the house. You can see that enclosed front porch. Another angle, and then this is the chain link fence that you can see too that's proposed to be removed. This is the William Street side. So one of the egress windows that we'll be talking about will go right here in the basement, and there'll be a new well. This is the north elevation or south elevation. Getting my directions mixed up when I don't have a map. South, thank you. Looking towards the garages right here that you can see, and that is from the period of significance. You can kind of see the rear porch back here that has also been enclosed. This one-story section is also shown on the Sanborn map. And this is looking back towards 2nd Street. Chain link fence, again, this is the William Street elevation. Right here is where one of the new egress window wells is proposed. Also one back here, which you can see better from this photo. So there is currently a stair and a door down here to the basement. It's proposed to keep the stair and to convert that door into a window. And then here's the porch, rear porch, which is also proposed to be unenclosed. Front porch to be unenclosed, and then also this front door, non-original, is proposed to be removed and replaced with something more appropriate. Another view of that rear porch, and then the inside of it. Windows are single pane and wood, and all of the existing windows are proposed to be retained and repaired, except for where the new egress window opening will be. Here's the garage. Among some other things, the siding is proposed to be repaired and restored as necessary. This garage door is proposed to be replaced, same opening size, and then same thing with the person door replaced within the same opening. And then here is looking back at the garage. You can see the space between the garage and the house, and then this fence. All right, drawings might make a little bit more sense. So, like I said, there's a lot going on. Here is from the site plan, try and go through most things, and then we'll see them on the elevations. But the chain link fence will be removed along the perimeter of the property. The front porch and then the rear porch are going to be unenclosed. This is one of the new egress window wells that needs to be approved by the commission. This is the other one, and that is the door that would be converted into a window. There's a third basement egress window well that is proposed. This one back here, though, could be staff approved because it's far back and on the side elevation. There will be some landscaping that's proposed to kind of obscure the window wells. This one is existing, kind of the space is existing, the stair is existing. It's really just the opening that would change. New patio is proposed, paver patio that would connect. There's an existing walkway that would go towards William Street. And the garage, which would be those two doors, and then the siding. And then the siding has already started to be removed, as we saw in the photos, but it is proposed to be removed, and then the wood siding restored beneath. And from the review committee visit, looks to be generally in good condition, the historic wood siding. All right, so seeing that all from a plan view, existing demo plan, so you can see that there is one door to window, one new window, and then another new window back here. Then for the proposed first floor plan, paver, unenclosing the porch, unenclosing this porch. You can see some of the landscaping proposed to screen. You can see the garage door work, and then a new paver landing back here. Second floor, not a whole lot happening, but just a note that all of the windows will remain, and the porch roofs as well. So the siding, the non-original siding removed as part of this application is proposed and to be restored. I think I've already mentioned most of this. New front door. This is what the new porch would look like. So the roof will remain, the decking will remain, repairs where necessary. These columns will be new. When I look at my notes, I can give you some dimensions. Railing is new, railing is wood, and then there would be some new skirting. I believe these stairs are going to be the same, and then the door would be replaced with something more appropriate that you can see here with the light in the panels. And then seeing it from a side view, you can see that front porch. This would be the new egress window well. This is the door to window. And then this is the unenclosing of the back porch, much more simple. Again, roof remaining, decking remaining, stair remaining, and then I can get the dimensions of the column when I look at my notes. And then this is just a rear elevation. You can see a window well, you can see the rear porch. This is that third egress window that, again, could be staff approved. A lot of this could be all included in this application. So there's a lot to go through. And this is the garage, restoring the siding, repairing the windows, and then new doors within the existing openings, both the overhead door and then the person door. And then here's that overhead door. And then removing the light fixtures in the garage and adding a couple new ones. All right, we've heard 1, 2, 9, and 10. I think we've heard some of the building sites already. I'll go through a few of them. It is recommended to retain the historic relationship between buildings, landscape features, and open space. It is recommended to identify, retain, and preserve buildings and their features, as well as features of the site that are important in defining overall historic character. Not recommended to introduce new construction, which is visually incompatible. Not recommended to remove or radically change buildings and their features. For windows, it is recommended to design and install additional windows on rear or other non-character defining elevations. Recommended to repair window frames and sash. Also recommended to protect and maintain the wood, which comprises the different parts of the window. Not recommended to introduce a new design that is incompatible with the historic character of the building. For health and safety, it's important to identify, it's recommended to identify the historic character defining spaces so that code required work will not result in their damage or loss. Recommended to comply with health and safety codes. From district or neighborhood setting, recommended to design and construct new features when a historic feature is completely missing, in this case, the porch. It may be a restoration based on documentary or physical evidence, or maybe a new design that is compatible with the historic character of the setting. For wood, it's recommended to retain, identify, and preserve wood features that are important in defining the overall character of a building, and to repair the wood features. Now getting to the Ann Arbor Historic District guidelines, we've talked about windows, but it is appropriate to retain and maintain windows in good condition. And it's not appropriate to change the number, size, or location of windows. It's appropriate to comply with barrier-free and safety codes in a manner that ensures the preservation of character-defining features. For porches, it is appropriate to use replacement features that match the documented historic design if no documentation exists, using a simple plain design and painting or staining all exposed wood elements. It is not appropriate to enclose a porch in a manner that results in the loss of historic character. For decks and patios, it's appropriate to use railings that have a chamfered top and bottom rail, and to use simple square or round spindles that are attached to the underside and top of the rails. It's also appropriate to install a patio that is flush with grade using stone, brick pavers, or concrete. Appropriate to preserve and maintain wood siding, and to repair wood siding. It's appropriate to retain, repair, and maintain original doors. It's also appropriate to replace a missing or non-original door with a design that matches the original doors or with a compatible new design. For fencing and walls, it is not appropriate to use chain link in the front yard, rear yard only. And that's it for the guidelines. Thanks for bearing with me. I think we've made good time overall. Okay, I'll just make a couple more notes. All right, so we've talked about the 3 egress windows. Again, 2 more visible than the other. All egress windows will be fiberglass. The new wells will be timber. There is that landscaping that's proposed to screen. As part of the work, the porches will be unenclosed. On the front porch, there will be new round 8-inch diameter wood posts, and the wood railing that will be installed, the design shown on the drawings, does look to meet the design guidelines. On the rear porch, a simple 4x4-inch square wood post will be used, and there's no railing shown. We've talked about the garage. We've talked about removing the siding and repairing removing the non-original siding and repairing the wood siding beneath, and that also applies to removing the non-original trim and restoring the original wood trim. Repairing the windows. We've talked about the new paver patio. We've talked about removing the chain link fence. Overall, a lot of the work could be staff approved. It's all here. The new egress window on the south elevation and the converted egress window on the east elevation are in appropriate locations. Even though egress windows on highly visible elevations are not appropriate, the applicant has explained that the chosen location on the north elevation is the only possible location, given that this is a corner lot, and converting the existing basement window keeps the existing fenestration pattern. And there is some screening. Staff believes that the rest of the work is appropriate and meets the Secretary of the Interior standards and the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines. In particular, removing the non-original siding, unenclosing the porches, and removing the chain link fence will restore important parts of the house's historic character and have a positive impact on the setting and district. Let me know if I missed anything. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mariana. Now we'll have the review committee report. Commissioner Kaplan.
The only other thing that I think was discussed on site that was a very complete report by staff. The only other thing I remember a conversation about was the cellar stairs and what might or might not be used to cover them. I don't know where that was left off. The cellar stairs were going to be converted to an egress window, I think, and it was just unclear if we were going to try to cover it with something. I think, the discussion with the architect was to keep all the light coming in and protect it from weather, to use some sort of an clear acrylic panel. And I'm not sure where we resolved that, if it was going away and just being left open to the elements, or if it was going to be covered with something that was going to get proposed later.
Yeah, I guess we'll ask the applicant.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. What is happening is at the bottom of the stairs, there's a door now. That door is going to get converted to an egress window. Yeah, and then so you're saying, but the actual door part, that's what we don't know is happening. Yeah, so we'll find out because it's not in the proposal. Yeah, and then I think the real kind of question here is that egress window that's on the north side, that's right by the sidewalk, corner house. So obviously it's the location itself, like theoretically, it's quite visible. Obviously, this, it's not a huge setback. It's right at the corner. So that's, working against it. There are things working for it, though. Staff mentioned the plantings, obviously. And then also just this photo really shows it, is that the sidewalk is it looks like maybe 3 feet according to the site plan. The application does have the contour lines on the site plan. So it looks like maybe 3 feet lower than the grade that the house is built on. So while it is close, it doesn't kind of feel like you'll be like staring down into the well, which would, I think, make it worse. So this seems like at least that feels better. And so that's it for site stuff, I believe. So let's get into the applicant report. So we've got David with us again. Several Davids here acting. And so, yes, please state your name and address for the record, and please, let's hear your report. Thank you.
My name is, again, David Lewis with Lewis Greenspoon Architects. I am the architect for the job, 440 South Main Street, Ann Arbor, Michigan, 48104. So I just, to quickly just answer the question, the decision for that existing exterior stair, we are going to just leave it uncovered. We're going to remove the rotting plywood cover on that existing opening now and just leave it open to the sky to maximize the amount of daylight that can come into the proposed bedroom in the basement. Going back to the overall project, as you can see, this house is in, it's kind of an eyesore right now, especially at the front porch. And the current owner is a new owner, and this house is going to look fantastic after this work is done. It's really crying out for some TLC. And as was discussed before in some of the other projects tonight, we need to allow older houses to make some minor changes in order for them to continue to be used well. And I feel like the addition of this one egress well in a not ideal location is a very small price to pay for all the other improvements that the neighborhood is going to be able to appreciate once this house is fixed up. I think, converting this front porch to a nice front porch is going to really make a huge change in the getting rid of the chain link fence. And it's a really nice neighborhood that you all know. And it's this, having this house not be an eyesore anymore is going to be fantastic. So right now the basement is unfinished. So the current owner is planning to finish the basement, and these egress windows are required. And the only way not to have an egress window on the north side would be to relocate the existing stair inside the house, which would be a very significant and unnecessary amount of work to the interior. So we felt like proposing or asking for permission for this egress window on the north side of the house was actually kind of the lesser of two evils that will enable this house to continue to be used and kept up nicely and brought back to its kind of former glory. I think that kind of sums up everything I had to say. Any other questions for me?
I had a question for you, just about, I was thinking about it, hearing the staff report, just the stairs, the exterior stairs, front and back. It appears, I guess the way that I would read the application is that you're basically dealing with those by repair, like you'll repair in place with same materials. The fronts, like if you need to replace a tread or something on the front stair, they're not getting rebuilt, but they're being, they would just be like repaired in place, basically.
Yeah, like the stair to the porch you're talking about? Yeah.
Yes, the front and back porch. It doesn't look like any proposed work is, or any work is being proposed on them.
Correct.
But I'm guessing you could just repair them if they need to be repaired. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And a railing, we'll add a railing to both sides of the stair.
Okay, so there will be a stair rail. I didn't see that.
I think it's in the drawing. No, it's not in the drawing. Sorry. I should have done it in the drawing. I believe the building department will want us to put handrails on the front stairs. We could try to get them not to make us do railing if.
I think we'd be fine with a guard and a rail that matches what you've proposed for the front porch and
Okay.
But that's, I think, all staff approval anyway, right? So whatever you propose, you can just include it with it. There's so much other stuff in this packet that it falls under that category. So that's just would be another thing that once it's drawn, just send it into the city staff.
Okay.
And can you describe what, you're proposing that the Bilco door, like the wood is going to be removed and there'll be the stair there. So you've got, it basically will become just kind of look like an egress well at that point, but
Exactly.
stairs. So what is that? I didn't look in there, but is it, can you describe what are the stairs made of and what would we see from the sidewalk?
The stairs right now are wood. So again, we'll repair any wood that needs to be repaired. And the walls of the well are stone, matching the stone of the original part of the house's foundation.
Okay. Very good. Does anyone have any other questions for David? Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else are you the applicant or do you want to? You're good. Okay. That was your moment to say something, but you're good. So now we'll move to the public hearing. So we'll open the public hearing for this item. It's 403 2nd Street. And there's no one here, and I'm guessing that we have no one online.
indicating.
Very good. So now we'll close the public hearing. And I will ask if there's a commissioner who would like to make a motion on this item.
I'm still out of breath from the
Yeah,
last one.
right, that was a long one. Thank you.
I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 403 2nd Street, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to create 2 new egress window wells, convert the basement door into an egress window, remove the non-original siding and trim, and repair the original siding and trim, unenclose the porches, replace the garage doors, add a paver patio, and remove the chain link fence. As proposed, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, materials, and relationship to the house and the surrounding area, and it meets the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings. In particular, standards 2, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for building site, windows, health and safety, district or neighborhood setting, and wood, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines.
Second.
Great, that was moved by Commissioner Kaplan and seconded by Commissioner Calderon. We've got a long list of items on this application. I feel like obviously that many of them were staff approval, so it's not there's not a lot to discuss probably, and I would say that it just comes down to the one thing that could not be staff approved, and that is the egress well. And so we've heard a little bit about it, but is anyone feeling that, the egress well, it's just too close to the sidewalk, it's not in the appropriate location? Obviously, we could say they can't have the egress well, and then they can decide, okay, well, we don't have, that's one less bedroom, or we can't do there's obviously, they're asking for the egress well for a reason, but it's not like everyone just gets an egress well just because you're asking, right? So, just want to make that clear. But in this instance, for this particular house, it sounds like everyone, no one's raising their hand to talk out against the egress well. I've already talked about it, so I'll move on to the next, which would just be anything else. Is there anything else does someone want to make a comment on the project? I would agree. I really with what the applicant said was this is just really going to be a great change to the neighborhood, obviously, if this does get approved. So
I was just going to add one thing on the egress window. I agree. I think what you said earlier about the elevation change between where the house is and the sidewalk makes a difference, as does the shrubs that they're proposing. Groupings of 3-foot tall shrubs should screen it accurately. So,
very good. Thank you very much. Anything else? Any other comments? Very good. Let's go to a vote then. All those in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, say no. The motion carries. Your application has been approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your endurance.
Thank you.
Yeah. Way to stick it out. Yeah. Take care. Okay. Well, that's what you get for skipping August, okay?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It actually maybe, it's nice to get it all done in one sitting. Thank you. Okay, so we've made it through the hearings. We're on to new business. And in fact, we do have some new business to discuss this evening, and I'll hand it over to staff for that.
Let's discuss the annual retreat that we put off last spring to this fall, because there was
Big
too
mistake.
much soccer going on in the spring.
Oh, guess what? There's
Now
soccer in the fall, too.
soccer.
But okay, let's bring it
So,
on. Get out your calendars.
Pull out your calendars. The annual retreat is held on a Saturday morning, and it's usually from 9 to noon. We don't have to do it then, but that's just when it's always been done. If the commission decided that they wanted to do it on a Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. or something, we could. But usually it's held on a Saturday morning in a place that's preferably not City Hall, though, once in a while it ends up here. Like, we try to go to a historic building or a park or someplace like that. And I have 7 possible dates, starting September 27 and going to November 22. Those are just the dates that,
Right, September
I'm
27th
available.
is the first.
Yes.
And going to, no,
so let's start at September 27th. If you know you are not available, raise your hand. Okay, no Ben and no Sarah. Okay. All right, how about October 4? Okay, maybe no Sarah.
what, we're talking 9 to noon?
Yeah.
Oh,
Unless you want to start earlier and do 8 to 11,
okay.
Or afternoon.
or afternoon, but then I'd have to find new dates.
I mean, you're competing with football too.
Oh, football.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
You should probably do 9 to noon then.
Yeah. October 4, anybody else have a conflict then?
I'm at TBD.
Okay. All right. I am not available October 11,
Okay.
which moves us on to October 18. No Mariana?
Oh,
Anybody else?
not the best date for me, but.
It's not good for me either.
Okay. Okay. Fair warning that if one of the newbies says they can't make it, we're just going to cross that date off.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be the most helpful to you two.
Absolutely. I
October
agree.
25th.
I'm probably not available.
Okay, okay. November 1st.
I can't do
Okay, no Steve. Anybody else?
Not great for me, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Is it the weekend or the time that is generally not working for people? Like, would a Sunday be better or worse?
Sundays might be better, I don't know.
Is that?
We got 2 more dates. Let's see
Yeah.
if we can catch everybody on one of those. Next one is November 15.
I'm not available.
Okay.
Me neither.
Okay, and then November 22.
That looks pretty good, actually, for me. That's the
November
first one that I
22.
had a definite yes on.
Put it off as long as possible.
Anyone know for the 22nd of November? Let's book it.
All right, November 22. Yay.
There is an away game, so that we're safe
Even
in terms
better.
of Michigan
Is it a noon
football, yeah.
game?
So
What's
thank you
that?
for
Is
not
it a
making me
noon
do a
game?
doodle poll and
Yeah, you
figure
didn't
it
have
out.
to,
and-
those work so well, though, but, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, November 22 is our retreat date. Thank you. I will work on getting some sort of a speaker.
Maryland.
And I have some suggestions from earlier meetings when we've discussed this. And also, I'll bring bagels. And if you have a location that you've really loved from a past retreat, let me know. But I'll otherwise just find.
Oh, the senior center,
The senior center we've been to a couple times.
it's
pretty
always good.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit cold for Gallup Park.
Yeah, probably can't do an outdoor one.
Yeah, they have that room that's moderately heated.
The best was the Hideaway. What is that called?
Yeah, Hathaway's Hideaway.
Hathaway's Hideaway,
I can
yeah.
ask.
That was really cool.
What's his name? Mr. Hathaway, if we can use that. Okay.
Where else can we do is there anything like that's, like, I don't
Option
know.
Black let us use their office once.
Oh,
It was
yeah?
kind of fun.
Oh.
Yeah. And the retreat space on top of, on Huron, is it Cahoots or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rooftop. Anyway,
Fun spot.
if you think of something, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And topics as well, right? You like to, that
Yeah,
what
if
you're
you've
saying?
got new topics, I've got a list that I
You've
did
got
not bring
some.
with me of topics that we talked
Okay.
about in the spring.
Okay.
That never came to fruition.
Right.
So. Thank you.
great, I can't believe we found a date.
Adult go fish.
seriously. Okay. Let's move on here to minutes. We've got the July minutes. You all should have gotten them and reviewed. Thank you. I'm not sure if it was Courtney Manor or Brittany Alexander who provided those minutes. Probably Courtney, I'm guessing, but it sounds like Brittany is back on the team.
She is.
That's exciting.
And she's
Welcome
gonna
back,
love these
Brittany.
minutes.
What's that?
And she's going to love doing these minutes.
Oh, yes, yes. Welcome back. You've got a lot of minutes to prepare, but
Good for us, probably very punitive for her.
yes. Well, thank you. Okay, and I should ask, are there any corrections to the July minutes that anyone noticed? Okay, seeing none. We will approve the minutes as presented. Great. Now we'll move on to I, that's reports from commissioners. Are there any reports this month? We don't really have reports because no one is on a, often we'll have someone like on the steering committee of Cobblestone Farm or something, and they'll give us a report, but
Yeah.
that's why that's there. We haven't had a report in a
We will
while.
probably be asked shortly to put somebody on the
Oh, good.
Cobblestone Farm Board,
Good.
because Kathy Fortner, who left, was.
She was
Yeah.
our contact,
Although
yeah.
Ben's done it before, too,
Okay.
didn't you, for a while?
A little, like, not long at all.
Yeah, they don't meet very often.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
I'll let you know when that comes up again.
Sure.
And we'll probably have to have an election soon because Kathy was our vice chair.
That's right. I was wondering about that.
So-
Let's discuss that now. So we lost our
Yeah.
vice chair.
We lost our vice chair, but our annual elections are next month at the October meeting.
It's perfect.
So we do need a nominating committee of one or two people who nominates who they think the officers should be. You can do that after talking to the potential officers. You can do that without telling them. We just need somebody to make some nominations.
Right, and we need someone to maybe step up and say
And
that
at
they
that
want to be,
point- Yeah, at that point,
vice.
we can fill.
we
the
can do that next month?
three. We need to do that next month, yeah.
Right, but we can wait until the meeting next month to just have a quick discussion of,
Yep.
yeah. So if anyone wants to be, well, any of the three roles, there's the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary.
Let's ask right now, Monsieur Chair, are you, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Are you,
We.
are you interested in remaining as the chair?
We.
Serving again?
Yes.
All right, Dave is interested in chairing.
3 terms.
Mr. Calderon, are you interested in remaining as the secretary or the vice chair?
I'll do the secretary.
Okay, all right, so we're looking for the middleman.
Right. So vice chair, and the biggest role that the vice chair does is when the chair is gone, the vice chair is the one that is running the meeting, so
All right.
fair
So-
warning there.
Who would like to volunteer to be the nominating committee? Sorry, it's in our bylaws.
I'll do that.
Thank you, Chip.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, I think we're all set.
I think that's very appropriate also. Okay, so good. Any other reports? We sort of did concerns and reports together. I don't know why those are separate, but I'm not in charge. Okay, assignments, that's the next step here. So we've got a review committee assignment. We're shifting from the 5 PM time slot to the noon slot. We review, right? So in the summertime, we review at 5 o'clock because that's just easier for most people. But then it's dark at 5 o'clock in the winter, so we can't continue that all year. So we shift to noon, which is the other maybe easier time slot for people to do. And so anyway, Monday, October 6th, is anyone interested? Great.
All right, who was that down there?
I think it was Steve.
Steve, okay, great. Thank you, Steve and Sarah.
Wonderful. Okay, and item K,
the perma
reports.
site visitor.
Reports from staff. Any reports?
I have no reports from staff.
Okay.
Mariana?
Nope, thanks.
Thank you both. And now the concerns of commissioners. Are there any concerns that anyone would like to air?
I will be absent next month.
That is a concern.
I will too, actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then maybe Jen. Okay. Very good. Okay, we had several communications this month, but they were all relevant to one of the hearings. Are there any communications that are general?
No,
No.
only those.
Only those. Okay, very good. So then I will now adjourn the September 11th, 2025 HDC meeting at 10:04 PM. Thank you all. 10:04.